thanks for coming out, man. This is going to be a cool episode. I was excited about this. We violated podcasting rules by going out to lunch first.
Oh,
because then you talk to each other, you get to know each other. You know, you get the honeymoon phase out of the way.
Yep.
When I went and did Cleared Hot with Andy, I started like telling him a story or something. He's like, stop talking. Just wait till we get to the studio. We'll be there in a minute. So
that's funny.
But no, it was cool, man. I like the fact that we got to go out and have lunch and hang out for a little bit.
Yeah. Ladies got to meet too and everything. So
yeah,
cool.
dude, that was cool.
Yeah.
And so how I usually like to run my show is just give my guests the opportunity to introduce yourself, say where you're from, a little bit about you, and we just take it from there, man.
Cool. Yeah. Paul Gardner. I, former United States Marine, as an infantryman in 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. Born in Texas, raised in Oklahoma once I was 11, and joined the Marine Corps from there. Then went to the 2-5, then the deployment to Iraq in 2003, the initial invasion in March 2003, in April. And then in April, I got wounded in a pretty good gunfight there in Iraq. So, yep. And then, I spent a lot of years recovering. Even when I wasn't in the hospital, I just wasn't 100% yet. It took years for my body to adjust from the gunshot wound, for my guts to kind of resettle. They took out my spleen and stuff. So I was in a lot of pain, and it just took a lot of time for me to kind of bounce back from that. Well, it wasn't bouncing. It was just so slow. And then, it took like 5 or 6 years for me to even start putting on weight. I left the hospital. I'm 6'1", and I left the hospital at 109 or 106. Oh,
shit.
Like, yeah, dude, I was just emaciated looking. I don't like to look at pictures from.
What did you walk around at before your injury?
165.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was always skinny.
Yeah. But that's also that military shape, Yeah.
Yeah.
Just rucking and running.
Yeah. You can eat whatever you want and burn off everything.
So how old were you when you knew you wanted to go into the Marine Corps?
14.
14?
Yep. I was 14 years old.
What was do you remember like the catalyst that said, you know what, I want to be a Marine?
Yeah. Well, my friend's brother. So I always wanted to join the Army. I wanted to be, an Army man. I didn't know the term was soldier that I was looking for. I wanted to be an Army man, watching.
Yeah. Isn't that what we called the little green figures? Army men.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what,
Remember those things, little green ones?
Absolutely.
We didn't call them soldiers. We called them Army men.
Yeah. Army men. I'm going to go play with, Army men. But yeah, so I wanted to be in the Army, and just from watching G.I. Joe, the cartoon, the original OG cartoon.
Back when cartoons used to have people getting fucked up in them.
Right. With laser beams, freaking laser beams.
Bro, no cartoons have violence anymore.
No, dude.
I watch them with my daughters, and it's like a bunch of soft ass shit. Yeah. And it's like, even Ninja Turtles, that was like the beginning of it going soft. They were still beating the shit out of dudes.
Yeah.
They
wouldn't, it's not like they were like killing dudes.
No.
But, snapping necks.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
And once they're down, they quit kicking or hitting them, But yeah, they were still beating some ass, dude.
So at 14, you met a Marine and said, that's the path I want to go?
My friend's older brother.
Okay.
Yeah, he was in the delayed entry program with his friends. So they would come home from school, and like one day they had their head shaved or whatever. And, I found out since then, like once you actually join, it's like if you show up to boot camp with your head shaved,
they shave it again.
You're shaving it again anyways.
Dude, but that's hilarious.
They also just kind of, I think the DIs will like kind of fuck with you more, because it's like, oh, you think you're a Marine already, or you're a recruit already? You just show up, trying to do everything. I don't know.
Bro, that was me at Army basic training. Shaved my head like the night before I left.
Motivator.
And bro, we all get in line for our haircuts. And they're like, get in line, Anderson. And you sit in the chair, and they run the clippers over your head, even though there's no hair there. It's like, you're going through the motions with everybody else. You're not special.
Yep, exactly. No, everyone's doing everything. So yeah, I didn't know what the Marine Corps was, and how it was explained to me. As a 14-year-old loser of a kid, little shit. That was my bad year too when I was 14. Always teaching school, freaking just doing all sorts of, gangster shit without actually being a gangster, because I lived in a suburb of Moore, Oklahoma. But I thought I was hard, and that's all that mattered.
You felt kind of gangster though.
Exactly. Yes. I felt it in my head. So thus I was. And so yeah, I saw them come home from school and they were like, talking about the Marine Corps. And I'm like, what's that? And they're like, well, it's, the Army, like they have infantry and all that. Well, the Marine Corps, they're the most badass branch of the military. And they go to war first and they come home last. And I was like,
I'm in.
Fucking sold, dude. I'm sold,
Yeah, dude.
I just bought that shit because like looking back on it, it's embarrassing to even talk about now. But, in your head as a young boy, you're just imagining yourself in combat like Rambo or like Chuck Norris with, I forgot his character name, and the Braddock Missing in Action.
Yeah.
Just going and laying waste. You know what I mean? And I would just, imagine myself doing that. I definitely never imagined. Well, I'd imagine myself getting like shot, sometimes even killed, having some like dramatic death, or even getting shot, but it's just a flesh wound. So I pick up my machine gun.
Just keep getting after it.
Just no fucks to give. Yeah, I didn't think I'd get shot in the freaking spine. And it's like, oh, well, your body doesn't work anymore. So you can't pick up that, you know what I mean? It's like, damn it, I didn't think about that in my memory. Like, I didn't role play this.
Yeah, this isn't how it's supposed to go.
Yeah, not at all. And I was doing so good too.
So what year did you enlist?
In 2001, technically, the ass end of 2001, right after 9/11. And
so was 9/11 kind of the catalyst? Is like it's time, or is it just?
So I was that, and also I had fucked up. So when I was 14, my eighth grade year, my bad year, I had to repeat that the next year. So that put me a year older than everyone else, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also had a birthday in September, so it's early in the year anyways. So I was always like way older than everyone else because of that. And so senior year, I failed. So when I turned 18, my sophomore year of high school, I turned 18. And junior year. Yeah, sorry. Junior year of high school, I turned 18. And I went to the Marine Corps recruiting station that day. And I'm like, I wanted to finish school, but fuck it, I'm done. Put me in, coach. Like, where do you need to send me?
Sorry.
I'm here to save the world solo. And so I went up there, and I'm actually really grateful to this recruiter. He actually told me that the Marine Corps is the only branch that does not take GEDs or high school dropouts, which is a lie.
Yeah.
But I you can get waivers, and then you can get a GED and get in and stuff. But anyways, but he was trying to do me a solid, for one, this is also peacetime military, and during Clinton and everything. So it was downsized anyways.
Yep.
Couldn't really get in. A lot of guys couldn't, and guys were getting booted out and all that stuff, forced out. And so he told me, stay in school, and, the day you graduate, come here and we'll get you in. And I was like, roger that. And I went back to school, and you'd think I would like be motivating, and I bust my ass, but I didn't. I still fucked off.
It's school, man.
Yeah. I realized years later, just with, like the way my brain works, it just does not function well in that kind of learning environment.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, school isn't made for boys anyways. It's not. It's designed for girls essentially, because they can sit still and stuff, and boys just can't, man.
I think our whole generation was like the last generation where we understood that boys are little boys, and you're wild, and you're not paying attention, and you're fighting after school. And now all that shit's considered a disorder, and they pump them full of meds,
Mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. Yeah. So, I did horrible at school. What's crazy though is that when I applied myself my sophomore year, when I first got to high school, because in Oklahoma, 10th grade is high school.
Mm-hmm.
9th grade is still junior high.
Got it.
And so I showed up. Fuck. See, my brain's not working. What was I talking about?
When you showed up, you had a bad year, or you had a good year your sophomore year, you said.
Yes, there you go. Okay, see. Yeah, dude, my memory is terrible too, so I'll lose track of where I was a lot. So anyway,
I can't promise to keep you back on track because I'm right there with you.
You're just jacked up too? Dang, this is going to be a great podcast. What were we saying? Let's look at the tape.
Yeah.
Hold on, we'll pause this. So I showed up and tried to put effort into it, not even like buttload, like it's not like I was studying till midnight every night. I just put effort in general into it. And I actually did pretty well. You know, my GPA was, I think 3.8 or something. And then you can literally see on my report card, semester number 2, sophomore year. And it just,
yeah.
I mean,
No, bro, I had a very similar high school experience where I had to take summer school to graduate because I was fucking off and skipping class and going and partying and skateboarding and all that shit. And I did the same thing one semester because I told my mom, I was like, I'm not stupid. I just don't give a fuck about this.
Yep.
Watch this. And I did one semester where I applied myself just like that. And then I did very well. And I said, okay, now I'm done with school again. Yeah. And went back to fucking off. Wow. So that's kind of funny, man.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, there's a lot of similar personalities, you know, in the military, especially like in the infantry and stuff, man.
Of course, dude.
Dudes that hated school, just wanted to go and blow shit up and travel around the world and get as much pussy as you can in every country. You know what I mean? Like that's like, and the recruiter sells it to you that way. Like all women love a Marine in uniform. That's the best uniform, you know. Like,
and then the truth is like outside of a military post, a woman won't even look at you if you're within 50 miles of a military installation.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Very hard to date. And everyone there hates you, you know, because of all the assholes that came before you that pissed them all off in the bars and restaurants and cussing in front of their children and
just all the shenanigans that fucking young privates get themselves into.
Yeah, man, exactly. So yeah, man, I barely even graduated at all. I had to take night school, which I would do that every year. Essentially, I'd have one or two classes that I just completely not show up to, and I'd take the whole class in night school because I don't know. I was more kind of wide awake and stuff then in the evenings, and I don't know. I didn't give a shit. I liked it, and so I went to night school after in 2001. I think it was just after the summer because I didn't go to summer school because I worked at Bluebell Ice Cream.
Okay.
And summer was our busy time of the year. And so I could make a lot of money, you know, slinging ice cream, loading trucks and stuff in the summertime at Bluebell. And that's why I took night school. So in night school, and then 9/11 happened while I was in night school. And I was just suddenly enraged with myself for fucking off.
Oh, because you weren't in the fight
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to get in the fight, and I'm like, I should already be there. When I watched the Bat Boys jump into Afghanistan, I was like, that should be me. Even though they were Army, not Marines, but whatever. I didn't give a shit. I'm like, that should be me.
Bro, I'll tell you a little story about that. That was 375, and it was Objective Rhino. It was October 19th, 2001. My 21st birthday.
Wow.
And there was one company from 2nd Battalion, which was my company. And we were rigged up. We were going to do the invasion with 375. And right before the mission, they said, hey, the 2nd Battalion attachment's been scrapped. This is a battalion size objective. We don't need the attachments from 2nd Battalion.
Wow.
So we sat on an airfield in Jordan and watched 375 invade Afghanistan.
Dude.
Fuck. Same thing you were thinking, right? Except I was right there. It was supposed to happen. And bro, they never even sent us in as for add-ons. Like we redeployed back to the United States and we didn't get to Afghanistan for 6 months, dude. Damn. And so, yeah, bro, that was supposed to be my 21st birthday is jumping into Afghanistan.
What a gnarly birthday that was.
I know, right?
Almost was.
And I had actually graduated Ranger School a month earlier. I just got out of Ranger School.
Dang.
And and then the wild ride began. But fuck, dude. Yeah. And the thing is, dude, they killed one guy on that objective.
Wow.
And every Ranger shot him.
Of course.
I heard he got shot 200 times or something. And
why wouldn't he?
Yeah, of course, right? Every person that fucking went by him was like, well, let's double tap him again just in case.
Yep.
But fuck, dude, you can do everything right and be at the right place at the right time and it still falls through. So right time, right place. And there's no way around that, you know?
For sure. Absolutely.
But at least it fucking motivated you, right? It's it's time to go now.
Yep. I quit digging around. Some of it was too late. I was about to fail like my math class in night school, you know, and this actually worked for either 2 or 3 different teachers, 2 for sure, possibly 3 that I can't remember if it was 3 or not, but I would go up to them, and this is also after 9/11, and you know how it was, dude. The country just, like, I get just chills thinking about that feeling that we had on 9/12.
Everyone was rallying around the military and their police and firefighters.
No one gave a shit if you're a Democrat or Republican anymore. We are in this together.
Yeah, dude.
And that was just incredible feeling. So I told these teachers, I was like, look, I don't ever want to go to college. I don't ever want to, like, I don't have a plan of ever being rich, of being a successful doctor, anything. My one dream in life is to go be a United States Marine and fight for my country. That's all I want to do. And somehow they gave me just enough to pass. You know what I mean?
That's awesome.
I couldn't believe that. I was not expecting, you know, either of them, let alone both of those 2 that I can definitely remember, to do that. And they did it, you know, just because that was, I think, the mindset of the time of the country is, like, you know, help people out, and especially military stuff like that, you know, like, it was a big deal. So
then you graduated and.
Yep. So graduated, and I was actually going to, because I figured another few weeks wouldn't matter when I got my diploma. I picked up my diploma in like the first week, I think, of December, something like that. And I called my recruiter, and my recruiter called me back. He's like, hey, good job. And then he hangs up the phone, calls me like right back, like 2 minutes later. He was like, hey, how would you like to go a little bit earlier? And I'm like, well, how early?
Tomorrow.
And he's like, yeah. He's like, you know, you get a week. And I'm like, damn, a week. I can't do a 2-week notice. You know, how's that going to work with my work? You know, I'm like, wait, it won't matter anymore.
It's an ice cream shop.
I'm done with the civil.
Fuck them.
I'm done with the civilian world anyways, you know. I'm going to go save the world and be a Marine forever after this. So he offered me either, I think, $3,000 for cash or another $50,000 for college or something bonus if I went before Christmas. Obviously, they have a hard time filling slots before Christmas because everyone wants to go right after Christmas.
Yeah.
So
did you take the $3,000 or the college money?
I actually took the college money. I went there to tell them I was taking the college money.
Nice.
And the gunnery sergeant in there actually called me in his office, and he wasn't my recruiter. And I go in there, and he's like, you're going infantry? And I was like, you know, yes, sir. Even though he was a gunny, but whatever. He was enlisted.
Yeah, we don't know any better
at that
then.
time. We didn't know shit, you know.
Yeah.
Like, yes, sir. And he's like, that's good shit. You know, I was in 0311 too. I tell you what, I'm going to give you both bonuses. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, you know. And
Nice.
I didn't realize how rare of a thing that was at that time to get, for an infantryman to get 1 bonus,
let alone 2
in any form, let alone 2. That just was unheard of. I was the only one when we got there, and everyone was in this big ass room of pretty much every platoon from the company that we were going to be forming. And they said, you know, hey, who here has got a bonus? And like 10 of us or 15 of us raised, like, there wasn't even many in general. 10 or 15 of us raised our hands, you know, who got more than 1. And I was the only one raising my hand still. And
now you're like, a marked man.
Like, damn, everyone's kind of like motherfucking me, like, this motherfucker, why did I ask for a bonus?
Yeah.
I came here for free. What the fuck, you know? Everyone's kind of feeling dumb and shit. But yeah, so got some bonuses. Took forever. Took like over a year to get that money. I just showed up in my ATM one day when I got checked, made sure I got paid or whatever for the weekend. I was like, damn.
I'm fucking
I got
rich.
paid. I'm fucking rich, man. I'm liquid.
Yeah.
And that money was spent so fast. So fast.
That's why I always tell people enlisting, like, don't take the cash bonus.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to do anything productive with it. But the college money, you can apply towards a lot of things now, you know?
Yeah. Or even give it to your kids.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Because it was another $50,000 for GI Bill, you know?
Yep.
So yeah, that's, you know, more money that, you know, my children, you know, hopefully can use for college one day. I forgot if it's permanent now or if it ever expires. I think it's permanent. I don't think it ever expires now.
I don't know. I burned through mine.
Yeah, it used to expire after if it was use it or lose it.
So yeah, for
they changed
when I was out of the military, you had to start using it within a decade.
Yeah.
And then you could continue to use it. But if you didn't start the process and get on their books, it just fucking expired.
Which makes no sense. It's like, okay, like,
it makes no sense. But what it does is it ensures that they can continue to offer that as a bonus.
Yep. So
because
not everyone will take advantage of it.
Statistically, most people don't.
Yep.
You know?
Sure.
And like I told you before we started recording, the whole reason I even went to college was because I didn't want the Army to keep that money. I was like, fuck the Army. I'm getting that money.
Yeah.
You know? And then I lived on it for a while too. The Army College Fund was paying like a BAH in addition to your actual tuition. And then that money would just come directly to you.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
So I remember it was like a fucking bum for a while just going to school. So it's kind of good though.
Yeah, it's definitely a good deal for people that use it and want to go to college and all that. It's a great freaking deal for sure. All these kids that are pissing and moaning about college right now, I'm like, dude, you could literally just go join the Air Force, do some
fucking pogue job,
super mega pogue job, and get money for college.
Exactly,
like,
dude.
Your college is paid for then. Like, what do you?
Or you can go the alternative route and be fucking strapped with student loans for the next 20 years.
Hell yeah.
You know?
For that piece of paper, baby.
But dude, everybody thinks when they get out of college that they're going to be rich. You're going to get, and dude, like I told you in the car, I got my degree in sports and exercise science and I didn't retain anything. Like it was cram, test, dump. And that was my fucking MO during college. But even afterwards, like, I was already a law enforcement officer, but I would put my feelers out there just because you're always burned out in being in the professional law enforcement. So I'm like, dude, what else could I do? What else could I do? There's nothing that you can do with a fucking online degree in sports and exercise science.
Yeah.
Nothing, dude.
Yeah.
And so
unless it's just a box checking thing, like, hey, he has college. So
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Because our company has that, requirement. Other than that,
but you're not using it as like what that degree is intended for, you know? And so I remember just thinking like, dude, at least I got to go to college for free. Cause if I fucking paid for this, I'd be pissed, dude.
Can you imagine that?
You know?
Man, and then you get a reality check in the real world where like everyone's like, yeah, good job, kid. We don't give a shit. Why'd you get your degree in something so stupid? You know, and you're just like,
yeah, exactly, dude.
I thought my freaking, history of whatever kind of weird dance, like I thought that was
I thought I'd be rich from that.
I was told, by my counselors and school, like, hey, you just need college and you'll make money. Like, what's this crap? I'm not making anything.
Well, bro, that's a big problem in today's society is that I think all kids just think college is the next step after high school, but they don't have a path in their mind of exactly what that means. Like if you want to be a lawyer or you want to be a physician, like there's a certain path to get there that includes a higher education. But if you want to be an electrician, like the trades, who wants to do that anymore?
They look down.
Yeah, don't be an electrician that makes $180,000 a year. Go get a degree in poli-sci.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, so you can maybe hopefully one day have a blog that's successful or something.
Yeah, dude. So fuck, man, you went through boot camp. And where did you go? Were you on the East Coast or the West Coast?
No, West Coast. I was a West Coast Hollywood Marine.
Okay.
Yep, out there MCRD San Diego.
And then you got assigned to 2-5 after that.
Yep. Literally just over the hill from SOI, the School of Infantry, is 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines, or 62 area, the 5th Marine Regiment.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I didn't know 2-5 was out of Pendleton.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
On the northern end of it. Yeah. Yeah, everyone or other guys were going to some different units. Like the company that graduated just ahead of us went to Hawaii. And so I was thinking like, oh, where in the world are we going to go?
And they're like across the street.
Yeah. I totally had no idea how the Marine Corps worked in general, man. I didn't realize that, well, they only have like one foreign base, and that's in Japan and Okinawa. There's only 3 Marine divisions. You know what I mean? It's the smallest branch in the, actual military, like, military that kills people. And
not the Coast Guard.
Basically, yeah. Not that they don't do amazing, great work.
We can still bust our balls, though.
Protect us, but yeah, it's like, come on, man. I mean, anyways.
Hey, that one guy jumped in a submarine a couple years ago.
That was pretty legit.
That's like the coolest. That'll be in every Coast Guard like recruiting video,
right?
For the fucking rest of.
Look what you can do, kid.
We had one guy do this one time.
Yep. Yeah, those guys actually do some pretty cool stuff. All that counter drug stuff, man. They get some high speed training too, and like they get to do some pretty cool shit actually. That tiny fraction, and then it goes guard. You know, that just life is obviously obviously not for you either, but it's not for me either, man. The whole like Navy or Coast Guard, the Air Force, that just wasn't. You know, I'm always have been just into the whole ground combat role. You know, that's just how I always pictured myself going. Not that the Air Force and Navy and Coast Guard aren't amazing opportunities for some people, but just, definitely not for my personality.
Well, and I think you just nailed it. It's not your personality. Yeah. But guess what? A lot of people aren't, is gunfighters, and nor should they be, or do they want to be? And I think that's a big thing about when I'm telling people, like, whenever people ask me about the military, it's like, this was a path that worked for me, but you got to find the path that works for you. And if you're not all in it to be a fucking Ranger or to be a Marine, like, good luck.
Yep.
Yeah,
I mean, we had guys that, they turned into shitbags because I think with the Marine Corps too, actually, I bet you might, no, because y'all have fucking a selection, man. That's what's awesome about Ranger Bat.
Yeah.
Like, if I could do it over again, I would have joined the Army and I would have gone Ranger Bat, because the fact that there's a selection process, RASP or RIP or whatever it is now.
Yeah.
So that gets rid of your dead weight. Like the Marine Corps, just you don't get to just boot dudes to other units.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When they don't work out, and that is such an amazing thing. So you're already starting off with guys that want to be there.
That's exactly right. No, I tell people all the time.
The quality of training plus the quality of the individuals, that's what makes that unit successful. It's not the other shit, man.
No. So Ranger Regiment, you have to volunteer to be there in the first place, and then go through selection. And selection's a kick to the fucking dick, but if you're fucking mentally tough, you're going to fucking make it. Right. Or even if you're physically tough, right? Because there were some people that are mentally weak, but were physically tough that did okay in Indoc. Then after that, the Ranger Regiment gets a much higher budget than other infantry battalions, right? And so what does extra money mean? It means more time on the range, more time flying around in helicopters, more time training in general. And so
perfecting your craft.
Yeah. So now you got a group of people that volunteered to be there. They're getting higher quality training. And then we always have the ability to kick people out. If you fall below the standard, you're gone. And
I love that.
Yeah, dude, that is what makes a unit good, because you're always being on the chopping block forces people to hold themselves to the standard.
Yep.
And dude, I don't care what unit you're in. If you have a hard selection process, but once you're in and you're good to go, people get complacent. They get fat and lazy.
Why am I going to work out if I don't have to?
Yeah. And so that's one thing. In the Ranger Regiment, everybody's fit. Everybody wants to be there. And it just creates a cool environment, But again, like we said before we started recording, when I saw what 2.5 and 2.4 were doing in Ramadi, I was like, fuck, dude, I should have been a Marine.
Yeah.
Because they were just laying waste, dude.
Yeah.
And the Marine Corps wasn't afraid to use those guys. It's like, hey, we're just going to go do movement to contacts every single day. And that's what they did, dude. And I remember we would fucking be posted up on rooftops watching the Marines patrol through these cities and just fuck dudes up.
Yeah.
I remember thinking God, I shouldn't be on this rooftop. I should be out there with those guys. So the grass is always greener, right? Always.
But so I got to 2.5 and I was in a helicopter company, Golf 2.5. So in the Marine Corps, there's, the 3 companies in every battalion. 4, I guess, in weapons. The companies that you have will be dedicated to helicopter, amphibious landing vehicles, or boats. And those are like the inflatable, rib boats. So I was not a good swimmer. I learned at boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was until they put like a bunch of shit on me. And then I could not stay afloat. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? This is not working like it's supposed to. Like I literally went under. The drill instructor, the safety, had to throw the floaty to me, dude, because I couldn't. I literally just could not tread water. I just kept going under. He's like, "Well, are you fucking quitting?" And
I'm like, "No, I'm fucking dying."
I'm just like, you know, just quit, sir. And as I'm, half drowning. But yeah, I think I had like 2 left boots on, and one was way too big. And I'm just like, why in God's name? Because it was like hanging half off, the boot was. So when I would kick, it just wasn't. But yeah, anyways, regardless though, I was still, even with the boot excuse, yeah, I sucked at swimming, I found out. And, if I could have been given some good instruction, that would have been awesome, but they ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
You can either swim good or you can't. If you can't, oh, well, you're going to be in a helicopter company. So I'm actually kind of glad that worked out that way.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's kind of fucking rad.
Yeah, right. We would be the dudes that...
Except you guys were in 1970 Hueys, right?
No. We were the CH-46 and 53.
Okay. Yeah. I like the 53s. That's a cool helicopter.
When those things land... Dude, you better hold on to whatever you got, because that just creates. I assume the 47s do too. There's so much of wind,
bro,
that comes off of those things.
We landed on the we were on the Iranian border. We were in Afghanistan, and it was like fucking snowing out. And you know how you all run off and you form a perimeter, you take a knee, and the prop wash was like so strong that it was like hard to stay on a knee because the wind was knocking you over. And then the fucking birds took off and the wind didn't change at all. I was like, oh shit. That's not prop wash. We're in a fucking blizzard right now. And we sat out there all night and just froze our fucking dicks off for nothing, Dude,
that's
it was a show of force mission.
Yeah.
We're going to insert you guys along the border and you're going to stay out there for a couple days. Like, okay.
Oh my God.
There wasn't anything as far as the eye could see except just fucking snow and ice. But yeah, dude, wow. That's the Army. Show of force missions.
Especially they tell you that beforehand. Like they told you beforehand, you knew that's what that was.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh wow.
Like part of the company jumped in too.
Wow.
Like parachuted in. Like
I figured maybe they would lie to you and be like, yeah, it's a mission, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out to be a, dry hole. And
there was plenty of those too.
And then they tell you afterwards, oh, by FYI, gents, that was, show of force. Because I figure if they, would tell you ahead of time, everyone would just be like, fuck you. I'm not going anywhere.
Yeah, this is fucking retarded.
I rebel. We're on strike, sir. Yeah, right. Like that would ever happen.
So when did you end up getting to 2.5 then?
In June of 2002.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then
December 2001 boot camp. Yeah. So and then SOI and then 2.5 in June of 2002.
And then you mobilized to deploy in April of the following year? Or probably before April, huh?
Yeah, no, it was in February.
February
3rd, 2003 is when we deployed to Kuwait, the day we left.
What rank were you?
I was a private first class, actually. I got promoted to Lance Corporal a month after I was there.
Okay.
In Kuwait, waiting for the war to start. Yeah. I went from PFC to Corporal in a month and a half.
Oh, really?
Technically, yeah. Because I got a combat meritorious promotion to corporal after I got wounded.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess I impressed the commandant so much with my attitude and stuff. Because I was like, asking for forgiveness for failing and shit. And I guess I just made an impression on him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck. Well, we got to get into all that.
Yeah, for sure, man.
So you guys mobilized in February. And if you think about it, dude, like you wanted to join the military and get in the fight.
Mm-hmm.
That's like a direct pipeline.
Yeah.
Very few people show up to their unit and are getting a real world deployment in 6 months or whatever that is,
Yeah.
So what was that like?
Great.
You guys did, I remember I was in Afghanistan through all of this because I remember they were talking about the rest of the regiments going to invade Iraq and all these other infantry battalions and regiments were like mobilizing. But did you guys know? When did you know that it was like no shit going down?
Man, we just kept watching the news as it was getting closer, and we saw like Colin Powell at the UN, and talking, showing all the mobile, chem bio sites or whatever that they can just deploy at a moment's notice, and all that crap. And then I think, we knew because they gave us 2 weeks for Christmas leave.
Oh, okay.
That's when we knew. Yeah, that was when we knew. Because we were like, they would not do that. And like, especially our senior Marines, we're like, yeah, we've never just gotten 2 weeks for Christmas, just so y'all know. So you should probably tie up any loose ends you got at home, because we're probably going to Iraq. And so yeah, we knew. I mean, no one like confirmed it, but yeah, I mean, everyone was like, our seniors were just like, you should probably, be prepared to be gone a while.
Yeah.
And so like half the company comes back married or engaged from Christmas leave.
Yeah.
Because everyone's afraid that if I don't put a ring on it, then she's going to like fuck somebody when I'm, in war or whatever.
And guess what? Half of them did anyways.
Yeah, half of them did anyways. Ring or no ring, engaged or full blood, full bore married or whatever. Yeah, a lot of them didn't give a shit, man. A lot of dudes got cheated on. A lot of dudes did a lot of cheating too, I'm sure, but we don't focus on that. We just focus on the bitches being whores back home. Hell yeah, it's a bunch of sluts. You can't keep your freaking nasty legs closed for 3 or 6 months, and she's like, oh well, like you could do it, and you're just like, yeah, I couldn't do that shit either, man. You know what I mean?
Well, it's easy for us to behave when you're in the desert with a platoon full of men.
Exactly. No opportunities whatsoever for that. Except, I guess, once they started having big ass mega bases there and shit, and, girls are getting pregnant over there and stuff.
Bro,
sent home.
Ramadi was like a fucking orgy.
Wow.
Dude, I tell you, like every guy on the team had a girlfriend. They were all Marine Corps girls. Uh-huh. And, man, I was talking to one of my teammates literally like 2 days ago because he knocked a Marine up in Ramadi.
Wow.
And he was with the unit, dude. And I talked to him about it, and he goes, dude, still married to her to this day. We have a bunch of kids now. It's like the best thing that ever happened to me.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy, dude?
That's awesome. That's definitely not
that's
norm.
Not the typical story you hear. Yeah.
That's definitely not the typical story. I at that age, like I give, as much as I'll talk shit, on like women cheating on a dude when he's gone at war. Yeah, it's fucked up, but you're talking about men and women that are just emotionally so immature.
Bro, they're 20 years old.
Have no good reason to get married in the first place. And they're rushing it because he's deploying and he wants to have a ring on it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that's not gonna, or the relationship's going bad, but he's deploying and he wants to salvage it. So he'll marry her, to make her happy or whatever. And it's
so she's on his insurance.
Yes. Yeah. Living that BAH life. Hey. Yeah, man. I give, the older I get, and we were talking about it earlier, the older we get, like the more lax you are about stuff, the more forgiving you are of young kids that do really stupid shit.
For sure, dude.
Like, and when I say stupid shit, I don't give a shit if you're talking about, those incidents that happen once every, year or a couple years where, these boys at a high school will like hang a noose in a tree or something like that, something that you're just like, dude, what were you thinking, man? And people just want these kids to fry. They don't give a fuck. They're only thinking emotionally and not thinking about the stupid shit that you did when you were a kid.
Exactly.
Decisions, or not thinking like maybe it was very likely only one guy that wanted to do it, and the other two guys thought if he's cooler than those other guys are, guess what? They're going along with it. Like, your mind is so different when you're a kid, man, and you're going to do stupid shit. And it's like, you got to let that stuff go. Like that kid that, got his Harvard, invitation to Harvard rescinded because they found that he had, written the dreaded, N-word on like some blog or something stupid when he was like 14. It's like, dude,
bro. And I mean, thank God. I mean, the internet was invented by Al Gore, right?
Yeah.
In like 1994, right?
Thank you, Mr. Gore.
Yeah. So, I mean, I remember being 14 years old and the only thing that existed was the AOL chat rooms.
Yep.
You could get on that and talk shit to each other.
Dude,
like,
people are brutal.
yeah, dude. That was the very beginning of the whole world imploding, dude, and keyboard warriors. But, dude, like, there's no record of that stuff.
Yep.
It wasn't saved. I mean, now it's like every single thing you put out there. I'm so glad fucking Instagram wasn't around when I was 15 years old, because the same thing probably would have happened, you know, and they can go back and look through all that shit and hold you accountable for something you said when you were 15. Get the fuck out of here, dude.
I mean, can you imagine if, you know, you made some stupid video or whatever because you thought it'd be funny to just do whatever, and whether it's saying the N-word or do whatever, doing something really offensive that is just very taboo. You could do that when you're like 12 years old. And just imagine when you're, you know, 27 or whatever, or just out of college or something. It's like you're 21, 22, and you try and go get a job and they look at that. And it's just like, I mean, it's not necessarily that a job looks at that and says like, oh, you know, this guy's a piece of shit. No, they look at that and they're like, okay, well, we have him. And then we have this other guy here that applied and he doesn't have anything in his background. It's just, it's safer to go with that guy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's not going to necessarily, you know, always be because of the actual act, but just because the person that's being compared to you by that employer.
Yeah.
You know, they're looking at resumes and
doesn't have some bullshit on his record.
Exactly. You know, something like that that's just really immature and really like can make your company look bad if that ever gets out.
Yeah.
You know, what if he gets somehow famous, you know, or something like that, and people start digging into his record and now it's attached to you. I part of me gets it, you know, I get that the CEO's job is to make money, you know, be profitable, not have drama, stuff like that. Only put out, you know, posts that are going to help you, not hurt you. Like, I get it, but I just wish some would, you know, say, just have some balls and be like, you know, like stand up for their employees instead of just automatically firing them, you know, whether it's,
that's the world, that's the world we live in now though.
Yeah.
You know,
like, why can't you just say like, oh yeah, I should never, it was pretty irresponsible or immature for me to write that, or stupid, whatever. Sorry about that.
That could be the end of it.
That's not who I am now. And everyone should be like, yeah, we totally get it. Thanks for saying you're sorry. Yeah, we're good. We forgive you. Yeah. That's all it used to be, you know?
But dude, it's outrage culture now. You can't forgive people.
Fuck no, you
can't. You say something fucked up, that's attached to you for life.
You're done. I hope your whole family gets cancer. Like, that's what people will fucking say.
I know, right?
People, and you're just like, what? Did you just actually say that? There's like those videos from COVID, you know, of like these women, you know, berating either another woman or a man that's not wearing a mask. And they'll say stuff like that at the end when they're getting ready to walk away. They're just like, hope you and your whole fucking family dies of cancer. And like their two little girls will be like right there with the mom. And she's just like, thank you. You're really polite. Thank you. You know,
and it's like isn't the whole reason why you want people to mask up and stay safe is because you don't want to see people die of disease? Yeah. So then the solution to you trying to prevent people from dying of disease is wishing another disease killed them. Just shut the fuck up and go away.
I'm not getting my way. So I hope you die one of the most brutal, agonizing, terrible, horrendous deaths that I've seen, you know, a friend go through, from zero of not being diagnosed to the last day of his life. Fuck, man, that's
fucking hellacious.
And you're just gonna casually throw that out there. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I try and.
Well, bro, it goes back to exactly what we talked about at lunch. Is like, we live in a society where there's no consequences for saying that kind of stuff to people. You know, we were talking about it in the context of law enforcement, where people walk up to cops and be like, you're a stupid fucking piece of shit. Fuck you, spitting at them and shit. Yeah. And cops just sit there and take it. But that same ideology is being expressed just citizen to citizen too. You see it all the time. And it's like, it wasn't that long ago where if you say something like that to someone, we're fighting. Yeah. And that doesn't make you some fucking badass. That's just it keeps people in line and it establishes a pecking order. Mm-hmm. And guess what? There are people you shouldn't talk shit to.
Yeah. And you learn from it. You learn, okay, I shouldn't say that again, or at least not to a guy that looks like that because he just kicked my ass, you know?
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, we've tried to move so far away from it that it fucking, it's creating an entire culture of people that are like, they feel entitled to say whatever they want. Mm-hmm. And it's like, your words fucking matter.
Yeah.
And when you choose to say certain things, there could be consequences that come with that. Mm-hmm. I don't see why that's like out of the realm of reasonableness anymore. You know, it's fucking crazy.
Yep.
But fuck, dude, we're getting off track. We're going to tell war stories.
Way over.
So February, you deployed to Kuwait.
Kuwait. Yep.
And
for the war to start.
And so I remember the invasion was March 19th of 03.
Yeah. It was like a month and a half. Just over a month and a half.
What was that month and a half like? Just fucking boring, sitting dude. On your fucking around with your thumb up your ass?
No, my battalion was actually, and at the time I hated it. Looking back, we really did have a very good battalion commander. Not all my officers or whatever were just amazing, but my platoon commander, although he was new, so he was figuring shit out too, of course, but he still was a really good platoon commander, and our battalion commander was really good. He's a lieutenant general now, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's coming out one day. So he O'Donohue was his name. So he actually had my unit was the only unit 2-5 that punched out like 3 kilometers. Yeah, 3 kilometers away from the huge, massive tent city bases. So we had a big ass tent city for regimental combat team 5, RCT 5, and that's where PX was, and all the showers and all that crap. The shower trailers, and we had to carry all of our shit. And that hike was the hardest hike ever. And it was just 3 clicks, but it was so hard because we had so much shit with us that we had brought, like whatever extra shit you brought, Copenhagen, whatever, and extra clothes and, gear and all that shit. Like, dude, our packs were just so heavy that, dudes were breaking off like crazy. Guys were constantly just taking breaks, sitting down, and then they couldn't stand up themselves. So they'd have a buddy pick them up. It was unreal. We finally get out to where we're going to be, and we didn't know what we were doing either, because it's not like they told us this beforehand. So we have no idea where we're going. We're just like, the tent city's that way, sir, and that's when we found out, like, hey, we're not staying here. We're not going to get all soft. We're going to fucking stay out here on our own, away from everybody else. And we're going to fucking train, And at the time, I'm like, that's fucking bullshit, but
yeah,
I don't know why. It's like, you'd think I'd want to be better at my job so I could, be more effective and hopefully not die or be, shot and paralyzed. But yeah, at the time, how it is, man. You bitch about everything, man. If you're not bitching, then, your leadership's doing something wrong.
Exactly.
Right? That's essentially the mindset. So yeah, we, dropped everything and set everything up, dug fighting positions for the next few days. The dirt was so freaking insanely hard where we were in the desert there. And so we were using pickaxes and stuff and breaking e-tools and just digging into this hard stuff. And then like my M16A2 service rifle was actually pointed at that tent city I couldn't see it because it was just over the horizon from a hill or something. But technically, I'm like, this is so stupid. Like, my rifle, is pointed. Like, I'm just like, this is so dumb, but whatever. We'll just pretend like that's enemy over there or something. And
the fact that you're even digging fighting positions in Kuwait.
Yeah. I didn't, I think.
But like he said, I guess he even said, like, it's a process to maintain hardness.
Yeah.
And keep you guys, not have you guys softening up right before you go into battle.
Yep. And it wasn't necessarily about, we're going to, make glass houses every day and do runs through glass houses, doing some CQB stuff or anything like that. Of course we didn't. Would have been awesome if we would have, but, but it's not like we, he was wanting to do anything like that necessarily. Even we did have several, training missions that we did where we'd be gone just in the desert for like 2 or 3 days on our own with our Amtraks, working with them so we could actually get really good and integrated with those guys. Was the main reason we were doing it. But the main reason that we were out there was just literally to stay hardened, to not get weak, to not just be sleeping in with nothing to do every day until this thing pops off. And we had no idea how long it was going to take. The last time took 6 months over there of them building up before finally they, crossed the LOD into, I guess, Saudi Arabia, or into Kuwait from Saudi Arabia. And I mean, 6 months. And we were like terrified it was going to be like that. We were like, please, God, do not let us wait long to go and freaking kill Saddam Hussein. And
so that was,
of course, we all thought every one of us was going to find him.
Everybody was going to find him. You got there and you did, like you said, 6 weeks or whatever. How long before you guys started making the real push into Iraq did you know that it was going down?
So we were actually, that first month, your mind, you start thinking about stuff and, words start circulating around, like, oh, did you hear the latest BBC news report? Looks like they're trying to negotiate, man. So this thing might not even happen. And we're like, fuck, man, I'm going to go fucking kill some bad guys, And we finally heard that when Bush, we heard from the BBC that Bush gave the ultimatum that, you have 24 hours.
That's
we were
right.
Like, okay, it's on. It's definitely on, because they're probably not going to do that, because you're in your own country and you're like wanting me to, I think, leave their own country or something. I'm like, yeah, they're not leaving. I feel like they essentially just gave them something that they knew they wouldn't do.
Exactly. That was, they knew that could be the catalyst for the invasion.
Exactly. So now you have your excuse. Well, we gave him this and he didn't abide by it, so we had to invade.
So now exactly.
Yeah. And it's like, well, but it was your ultimate, but, so yeah, man, that's when the invasion started. And it was, I got woken up at, 0:30, and I was pissed because I was like, I don't have Firewatch tonight. What the fuck? Why are you waking me up? And he's just like, we're going to war. And I'm just like, fuck yeah. And it was literally like that scene in Starship Troopers where it was like, war, we're going to war,
Yeah.
Everyone's all amped up, running on the flight deck and stuff. It was that kind of feeling. Like we were so stoked.
And bro, that's what you've wanted since you were 14, right?
And then we just proceeded to load up in the Amtrak, pack all our shit, load it up. And then we just sat and waited and waited and waited for fucking hours for the convoy, for it to be our turn, or for the convoy to even get started going, I think, just to even set all the vehicles up. I mean, when you're talking about hundreds of vehicles in each one of these convoys, I don't know what the low and top end numbers on average were, but I mean, yeah, you're talking about hundreds of vehicles. So it just takes time to get all those people moving on the same page. This fucking Amtrak is having an issue. Its track fell off.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, to get that many vehicles to not fuck up. I mean, on the way there, we actually demoed a track because it broke down, and they're like, we're not fixing it, blow it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
that was your first combat loss. Like,
yeah, that was
blow it in place.
Yeah.
We can do that.
That was my first, like, wait a minute. So I guess in war, you waste a lot of money on shit, huh? You know what I mean?
You thermite it?
Yeah. So they put like, I don't know if it was, some thermite grenades or something on sensitive stuff. And then, but I know they blew it, probably some satchel charges or something, who knows? And, so yeah, and that, of course you got to offload those Marines on all the other tracks. So space is already at a premium,
Yeah.
And we had even less space, but so invasion starts, and we actually staged that day that we got, that we're going to war or whatever. We actually staged at our, what is it called? Final. What is it? The final something point of.
I don't remember all the nerdy acronyms.
Yeah, I know. LOD is line of departure, but that's when you actually cross into, your last. But I forgot what that final rally point or last whatever. Anyways, it's your last spot where you camp there and you get all your shit set up. You pass ammo, hand grenades, all that shit out. That's where they pass all that out. we got a few, scud warnings or whatever that went off, alarm. So we had to put our fucking gas mask on and all that crap and sit there until they told us it was, yet another, dud or warning or false warning or something like that. But then we started the next day, that night, we actually crossed the LOT, the line of departure, into Iraq. And then I started seeing all sorts of activity in the sky, like of, missiles kind of going each way, And some guys said they saw like Patriot missiles like blowing up other stuff, Scuds or whatever. I didn't see any of that. But most of it, you just couldn't see shit. It was so dark out there, even with the nods and stuff. And of course, our nods were terrible. I had a PVS-7.
Old school stuff.
The single tube, but dual objective lens. And those things, they sucked. They were terrible. And I couldn't really see much anyways that night. So I just kind of gave up and kind of tried to half-ass sleep or whatever. But most of it I found of invading a country was actually rather boring, it took 3 days to get to our first objective, which was a gas oil separation plant, or GOSP, GOSP. And we trained for this mission of this GOSP for I think a month and a half or 2 months. I think right about 2 months, because it was about 2 weeks before we even left for Kuwait. We started getting intel on this thing and coming up with the plan and everything. So we had been drilling it, rehearsing it, going over it, getting the freaking, whatever it's called, the damn, where you put your map and everything, but a physical, visual, what are those called?
A sand table?
Sand tables, yes. That's like a map table. I'm like, that's all right. But anyways, so the sand tables, and, it's like, hey, Gardner, where are you going once you get here? It's like, oh, Corporal, I'm going back here. We all go over it, what we're doing, our roles are. And my platoon wound up being the main effort on that. And within that, my squad was. And within that, my fire team was. And I found out I was going to be the first person to do it on the objective. And I was just like, fuck, yes, it's all coming true.
I'm going to save the world.
I'm about to fucking get it on. And
bro, it's so awesome, dude.
So fucking funny, in hindsight, how dumb and naive you are and everything at the time, but you just have no idea. So you just go with what you know at the time, man. And just, So I get to this objective, and it's the first time I'd never even heard a breaching charge go off. I had no idea how loud det cord, could be. And so he does an IV bag water charge on it, and it blows the door open, kind of crumples it like a Coke can, because it was one of those, metal doors that they have over there everywhere. And I went in there, and I realized, fuck, there's no one here. It's like, what is this? This is like a barn. It's all agricultural shit. It's like some fertilizer and a tractor, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then I go, see a room, so I go to clear it. And of course, I'm by myself, and my corporal is clearing the other entire half of this Dude, that is not
violating all the principles of CQB.
All sorts of principles. We're just going off on our own. It's cool, Hey, you clear that end of the entire structure. I'll clear this entire end of this massive, building. And I go in this office, and within the building, and I see a picture of Saddam Hussein hanging, framed or whatever. And I just go up to it, fucking butt stroke the shit out of it, just like I learned in boot camp. And shattered it. And I'm like, fuck yeah, But I was also pissed off. That was me kind of also taking out some fucking anger. I was like, damn it, there's no one to kill, And I don't know what it is about that desire to get that first kill, that number one. Just you almost want to just get it out of the damn way. And it's not because you necessarily want to, just murder other human beings. You want to, well, I mean, I guess you kind of are, but
I was going to say, hold on a second.
I mean, I was pretty enthusiastic about it, but it's not that you're just, I mean, these are, very, very bad individuals. That's your enemy. And, so killing's the name of the game anyways. So you're like, I want to get it over with. I think that's part of what it is, of why you can't wait to get into your first gunfight just to, test yourself as well. Like, am I going to be a chicken shit?
Well, no, that's a big thing that I was going to say is like, you want to know how you're going to respond.
Yeah.
And what I found is that you respond exactly like you do in training.
Yep.
Like, it wasn't this big deal like I thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of like, oh, that's it?
Yep.
It wasn't a lot of emotion around it or,
correct.
And it was like, okay, got it. All right, I guess I'm good.
Yeah, it really was. Our training was pretty garbage at the time. Coming off from a peacetime military.
Yep.
All my senior Marines, they were all about going to Okinawa, Australia, and lifting in the gym a lot and getting drunk every night, and that was about it. Like, that was their experience in the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
And now they're senior Marines, so it's like, of course, they just do the same shit to us that the seniors did to them, and just thrash us all the time for. Sometimes it's for reasons because you legitimately fucked up when you did something, or sometimes it's just because you said Corporal Jones instead of Lance Corporal Jones. You accidentally fucked up his rank and promoted or demoted, even worse, demoted him to Lance Corporal from Corporal.
Yeah.
Because you forgot that he just got promoted or some shit like that. And then you get thrashed, or the whole platoon or whatever gets thrashed. Like, whatever. Cool. Get it. But I never found it. I don't know. Looking back on it, I'm just like, man, I just wish we would have taken that time and done something, maybe to get tighter and bond as a team, or to learn more about our jobs, instead of just, I don't know, or just done group PT or whatever, and have the senior Marines kind of suffer with you and stuff like that. Like, I think my leaders, they weren't bad guys at all.
But they just didn't have the combat experience.
Yeah, they didn't have no one had combat experience. And the leadership, it's, you go with what you know. And I think that's what the biggest problem was, is that their senior Marines were shitbags. And, well, I say that, not even necessarily them. They're a product of their senior Marines, you know what I mean? And so on and so on. Usually, when wars end, drawdowns happen, they shrink the military. Typically, Democrat comes in, shrinks the military, and starts forcing guys out. The guys that get forced out are the guys with most of the knowledge, because those are the guys that have been in combat, which means those are the guys that are going to have some PTSD. They're going to freaking be drinking all the time. They're going to have a DUI on their record. They're going to maybe have a domestic. And those are the first guys that get the boot, man, when they downsize the military. It's like, okay, well, you just got rid of all your experienced guys, your most experienced guys, or at least a lot of your most experienced guys. And the other ones can't stomach peacetime military because it's just so much different. You can't stand all the bullshit rules and all that stuff when you're in garrison. And so, what happens is those guys wind up self-selecting, they get out, and then you're just left with, I don't know, subpar people, or people that are not subpar necessarily, just they have no knowledge. They don't have any experience, and they didn't have leadership that had experience either. You wind up having multiple, I guess, generations of Marines. I guess generation in this case meaning like every 4 years or so. That it gets watered down quick. You lose it so fast. And that knowledge is just, it sucks because we have to learn it all over again from scratch. Every
time there's a new conflict.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, every time we have a conflict, there's guys like me that get wounded in ways that you really shouldn't have gotten wounded in, just because your training sucked, but your training sucked because no one really knew what you really needed to be trained for, or what the most likely scenarios are going to be, how, no one knew anything about human behavior, or anything like that, about what the enemy typically does. You don't want to count on that, like in CQB, but, guys that are really, really intimately familiar with CQB, guys that, they, a lot of the times they've seen so many snapshots of so many rooms that they kind of have an idea a lot of the time of what the enemy kind of where they will be, or, they'll pick up on common behaviors,
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think we just we definitely didn't have that, we didn't have that guy that could tell us about human behavior. And, one thing you really got to be careful, in CGB is, dude, like these spider holes. Like, I know we don't have many in training, but in real life, like in real world, like, or overseas or over in, I don't know, Myanmar or wherever the fuck we are, or wherever we're going, wherever I've been, that's, they use the shit out of them. So you need to be aware of those, I don't know, I just pulling something random. That's not from a real thing or anything, but, we didn't have that knowledge, and man, that knowledge is just crucial, y'all, whereas Rangers had Black Hawk Down.
Yeah.
They had, that was like the only biggest infantry action that happened like that I guess since Vietnam. Man.
Yeah. I mean, the regiment has the Panama invasion, well, Grenada.
Yeah. Okay.
In 83,
yeah.
Panama in 89, Mogadishu in 93. But those were pretty isolated incidents.
Yeah.
But again, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from them.
Yeah, definitely a lot of lessons learned. There was just a fuck ton of lessons learned from, in Mogadishu.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
So many, because so much knowledge had been lost, and they
had to relearn it in real time. They got
schooled and did some schooling too. They did some teaching and some learning that day.
Yeah,
days, and they just talking to guys like Chuck, my friend, and I mean, he came there right after that happened. Guys were still on crutches and shit. Guys were still literally, it just happened when he got there to that unit. And he said that he literally went like room to room of anyone that would talk to him, and just was like, tell me exactly what happened, because he wanted to soak up all that knowledge, man, because he knew that knowledge was precious, and that those guys were going to be getting out, at some point, probably relatively soon for a lot of them. And he wanted to get that knowledge. And I'm like, man, that's
smart
for being that young. Like, that's smart.
Yeah,
that's really smart. I wouldn't have had the insight or whatever to even think of that, or I'd be just being intimidated to talk to a fucking senior,
yeah,
about war, because you're not supposed to talk about that or something. But yeah, I don't know.
So
oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna go back to the agricultural plant.
Yeah.
When that ended up being a dry hole, basically.
Yep.
You butt stroked Saddam.
Yep. Butt stroked him right in the face.
And so was that like right around March 19th? Was that the day of the invasion? The day after or something?
Realistically, it was probably like March 22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you guys
2 to 3 days, or maybe even a day and a half or something after.
So what city were you guys headed to then? Was it the push to Baghdad? Is that what everybody was doing?
After that, yeah. So we take this gas oil separation plant, which we didn't even go inside the plant. We just locked it down. And everyone had already kind of fled anyways, except for some firefighters. But they were like, I guess, refilling on some water, probably to go put out some fires for some shit we probably started. And I remember pointing an AT-4 rocket launcher at him, and I couldn't have shot it because we were too close. I don't even know if it would have armed, and if it would have armed, it would have killed us. But my squad leader just told me, "Hey, point the fucking rocket at him." I'm like, "You want me to fucking prep this thing?" And he's like, "Don't fucking prep it. No, just point it. They don't fucking know." And I'm like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." So I just sit there and point it at him with a mean look on my face, and he tries to kind of tell him like, "Hey,
get the fuck out of here.
You don't come back here anymore.
Yeah.
Or we'll kill you." Like he's trying to do, whatever, hand gestures and shit to try and get his point across. Like, basically, see that guy right there? He's going to fucking blow you up if you come back here again. Well, the next day they came back, and I remember my corporal telling me that, or telling him, threatening the guy that, but the guys I was with didn't hear that the day before. So I see a fire truck, and it's like, I don't know, 300 yards away, going down a road. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I was so excited because I'm like, I can shoot. I've been given permission already, And so I literally just fired the warning round at this truck and, fired. And, like a second later, heard the impact and I landed on the brakes, looked out. And like I said, I was 300 yards away, but I like pointed like that, like go back. And they put that fucking thing in reverse. They were so terrified. They put it in reverse as far as the eye could see.
Yeah.
And it was a straight road, so we could see until we couldn't see anymore. They just kept it in reverse. They never turned around until they got out of eyesight, because they were so fucking scared. But they had no idea, though, that they were literally about to get shot with an AT-4 from a checkpoint that they were moving towards.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually wound up saving their lives by doing that. And so, yeah, that's the only time I fired around, though, that day on that first objective that we had trained for months because, we didn't want their oil infrastructure to experience the trauma that it did, in the Gulf War with them, detonating all those, like pipelines and blowing up drills and, and just having that fire flame shoot out the air, and all the oil leaking everywhere and going. I mean, that was just an environmental nightmare and stuff. And obviously, of course, for money too, and the oil markets. So we took that and secured it, handed it off to the Brits the next day, and they stayed there, and we kept going north. So kept going north and got to Baghdad. We got in a few skirmishes on the way, like when we were in our Amtraks, our amphibious tracked vehicles, AAVs. We were sticking up out of the roofs and stuff, and we'd occasionally shoot, getting these, I guess you'd call them gunfights. Technically they were, but just not gunfights like I would, later learn to think of as like, okay, like this is like a no shit gunfight here. But we didn't really get into much action, man. Not until April 12th, the day I got wounded.
Okay.
So we get to Baghdad University, and we're pretty much all unscathed. We did suffer one casualty in another company in our battalion. I think he was a gunny. Yeah, he was a company gunny. That's what he was. He got killed. He actually got shot while he was driving or sitting in a Humvee because, they didn't have up armored Humvees at the time. It was just thin skin. So bullets sailed right through those guys. And it hit him somewhere, like, I don't know. I heard in the arm, but who knows? He wound up actually, because he felt fine. He's actually wound up waving off medevac and letting someone else go, I think, or something like that. And he wound up dying, like bleeding out and dying or something that. It was just like, holy shit, like that fast? Like, why did he not go on the medevac? Like, how did someone not force him to go or I don't know.
Dude, it's all new. It's all new.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not just the Marines that their training isn't the best. Guess what? The medics, or corpsmen in our case, they're not that good either. They're doing as good as they know, but they don't have any experience.
And when shit was new too, like the ease of use of tourniquets and how vital they are. Yeah. I remember like that wasn't even that big of a deal in the beginning.
I learned in boot camp, do not ever put a tourniquet on someone unless they have already lost the limb or they're going to lose it.
Remember, like
you're ruining their quality of life for the rest of their life.
I remember it was what was it, like a regular dressing and then a pressure dressing. And then if it's still bleeding after that, then we can do a tourniquet. And now it's like, I don't give a fuck what your wound is. You're getting tourniqueted right now,
all day. Yeah.
Because of incidents exactly like that.
Yep. Yep. So, suffered casualty and, I hate that I can't remember his name, but it's just been forever. So stay at Baghdad University, go BU. Yeah. So stay there. And for
what side of Baghdad is the university on?
I don't even know, man. I didn't have a map at the time.
Okay.
I was just, they tell me where I was and I'd say, Roger that.
Got it.
Write it down in a journal or something. But yeah, and I didn't really look at it before. I think it's, I don't know. I want to say South Baghdad, but I'm not sure. Probably somewhere in Central. We'll just go with South Central. Sure. We'll go with that.
Good answer.
And so we stayed there, left from there. The day before I got shot on April 11th, we went and like demoed some shit that we found, a bunch of guns and RPGs and all that. I mean, that stuff was everywhere. God, it was everywhere.
Because everyone was just, a lot of them were just fucking fleeing, right?
Yeah.
Dropping all their shit.
Yeah, they just
I've heard
leave,
stories
man.
of uniforms and shit on the street.
Yeah. I mean, you'd find uniforms at these little, I guess, outposts, or maybe call them like, I guess, a fob essentially.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be like these enemy fobs, and there'd, be a few like 5-ton looking trucks, and those 5 tons would just have fucking crates and crates of hand grenades and ammo and RPG rounds. And maybe like they have a couple, launchers in there, rocket launchers of the RPGs. And they had like a checkpoint or something to get in with like the gate that you lift up manually and stuff. And that was it. And
with like
I don't even
the
know why they were
counterweight
there.
on the other side.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Like, I don't even know what their mission was being stationed there or whatever, or maybe that was just where they went to work every day. I don't know what they did. I guess just keeping the fucking population aligned. I don't know. Or if it was just there in advance of our attack, possibly. Yeah. That's probably what it was. And anyways, but they always fled. They never stayed and fought with us, the actual military, man. They always, they remembered very well, or heard lots of very, detailed stories about what happened, I think, in the Gulf War, and just how we fucked everyone up. And even when they were retreating, we fucking killed them all. You know what I mean? On the highway of death. And I think they remembered that. And the main military, and plus they were just in the military for money anyways.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't love of country. I mean, it's a relatively new country since, World War II. So you just don't have that lineage of, go Iraq, I mean, you do now. You're starting to have it now, especially guys that have bled for the country. It's like, well, I fought for this. Now you have something, that you fought for, you've put effort into, and you've sacrificed for. And I think that makes you actually have more patriotism. So, I know guys that are there now, that I've seen on podcasts and stuff like that, here in the States, like an interpreter, like a lot of those guys that interpreted from some military unit, and they'll come, they'll do a podcast or move here or whatever, because their, life is in danger from ISIS over there. And they'll talk about, like loving, Iraq and everything, and wishing they could still be there and everything, but it's just too dangerous. And it's like, that's pretty cool to see, But yeah, everyone was real excited though, honestly, when we were there. Everyone was like, they loved us at first, dude. I mean, they fucking loved us. At least they were just lying and good actors. But they were like, George Bush, very good. Yes, go George Bush. George Bush, good. And that's that. And
that's actually cool, man.
Yeah. And then good morning. They would say like, George Bush, very good, very good. And, good morning. And it was like, oh, it's nighttime, but whatever. Good morning.
Yeah.
And they were just all nice, man. They'd give us stuff, and treats and stuff like that, and soft drinks, and bake us bread or whatever. If we were like, bivouacking somewhere nearby someone's house or whatever, they, the woman or grandma would come out with some bread or eggs or whatever. They were really nice. I was only there when they were nice to us. I got wounded so early on that I never saw all the hate, I guess.
I got a lot of that in Afghanistan, where the local population was very grateful and supportive.
Okay.
Because we overthrew the Taliban. And the Taliban ruled Afghanistan with an iron fist. But when I got to Iraq, I didn't get to Iraq until 2004. And Al-Qaeda Iraq was starting to get its hooks in. Yep. And at least everybody in the Sunni triangle, it's like they fucking hated you.
Yeah.
Because Saddam was a Sunni. So we overthrew their guy.
Yeah.
I did a deployment up north in Kurdistan, completely different. They all still loved us, So it just kind of depends on what team they were on.
Yeah, for sure. And, I mean, we really, they got fucked though, man. The Sunnis really got fucked because we made the mistake, one of many, we made the mistake of assuming, okay, the Sunnis, they're bad. That's like, so basically Saddam's like Hitler and the Sunnis are like the Nazi party. And that's how they would explain it. And I'm like, not necessarily, man. And even the Nazi party, not everyone was fucking evil as shit, A lot of it is just survival, man. It's easy to talk shit about people until you're there, in their shoes. And if your country's falling apart and you kind of don't want to be like a dick by, you know, kind of oppressing I guess the majority technically, because the Sunnis are minorities there, you know, suppressing the Shia and everything. It's like, maybe you don't want to do that, but much better to do that than being the one who's oppressed. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think it's human nature, man. In our, you know, our most uncivilized, you know, we get tribal like that, and it's very easy to be inhumane to other human beings. Apparently, when a bunch of humans get together, it makes, the more humans are together, it seems that the easier it is for those humans to do bad things to other human beings that are also in the same country or area or town, house, whatever. I don't know.
It's been going on since the beginning of fucking time.
Yeah.
You know?
For fucking ever. For sure. And but they were really nice and everything to us for the most part, early on. And obviously that didn't, you know, they lost their patience, or they didn't like, you know, if you were Sunni, then you didn't like, you know, all of a sudden being, you know, freaking kicked around.
You're not on the winning team anymore.
Yeah, and you're getting your ass beat by the Shia cops. You know, they're like, payback time, motherfucker. Dude, there was a lot of there was a lot of that. There was a lot of payback, man. There was a lot of honor killings.
Yep.
That, like, you insulted my daughter or something like that fucking 10 years ago, but you were a Sunni and I'm a Shia, so I couldn't do shit. I just had to take it. But guess what, motherfucker? We're in charge now.
And we even heard stories of, like, even Sunni on Sunni, like, violence where, hey, you know, like, my neighbor did this to me or said that to me a year ago. And
score settling.
Yeah. Oh, so nobody's in charge anymore. Roger that. I'm going to go next door and kill my neighbor and all of his family.
Right.
And, like, that's what was going on when we were there in 2004, because that's when it started to turn into the Wild West.
Yep.
And I've talked about that on the show a lot, because I think Americans are so out of touch with reality that, like, you know, the whole defund the police movement and fuck the cops. And I was like, dude, you want to know what happens when there's no rules? That's what happens when there are no rules. People do whatever the fuck they want. And it's nice to hope that most people have a good heart and would do the right thing, but all it takes is 2% of the population to be shitheads and fucking stand by, because it's going to get really ugly really fast.
Yeah. We humans like to think that, you know, we're just so much better than our ancestors, or it's so easy. And I've done it too, where, you know, you look at a continent like Africa, or the Middle East or whatever, and you'll, you know, fucking people are savages, man, you know? And it that could easily happen here
anywhere
as well, without law and order, you know, and without that camaraderie of, you know, hey, we're all one nation and all that identity. And it, you know, there's a human beings just like us.
Exactly, dude.
They're no freaking different. And if you're put in the same situations that they are, like, it can, you know, degrade really bad, really fast.
Well, bro, I mean, the thought of, like, if my daughters went without food for 3 days, let's just say, let's just say there's some kind of disruption in the supply line, then now we can't get food to Lake Stevens, Washington.
Yeah.
I'm only going to let my kids go without food for so long before I'm like, you know what, motherfucker, I'm taking your food.
Yeah.
And so one of my buddies said this not too long ago. He goes, I think any person on planet Earth is about 3 meals away of going savage. Yeah. That's exactly right. And so Americans think, I think we have an ideology of what the world is like based on what we see here at home. Yep. The rest of the world isn't fucking like this.
Yep.
And for us to think that we couldn't go back there, you're not being real with yourself, you know?
No. Yeah. I mean, you know, we've had glimpses, you know, last year we had the Floyd riots and everything.
Oh man, I thought it was going to go further south than it did.
Dude, yeah. I mean, in Houston, it actually, you know, where I'm from, it's not, it wasn't too bad actually.
Well, it's Texas, dude.
They did a little bit of shit, but it wasn't too bad.
Seattle and Portland were different stories, dude. Shit show.
Yeah. It, you know, down there, being from Texas and everything and seeing, I'm just like, I don't know how people tolerate it. And they just, even I've got friends up here that, you know, they kind of laugh about Antifa. They're like, dude, the media makes them look, you know, like nuts and so violent and scary, but they're just a bunch of idiot kids, really. And I'm just sitting there like, you know, those idiot kids they're committing murder, right? You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they're like, it's
and
not
burning
just
places down and stealing and like,
and trying to burn cops alive and police stations and precincts and everything, trying to barricade the doors and then ignite a fire.
And I'm not arguing that they're not just stupid kids, but guess what? Stupid kids can do real fucking damage.
Yeah.
You know,
especially when they're in crowds egging each other on.
Yep. That's exactly right, dude.
That's when kids do the dumbest shit, is when they're in large crowds.
Yep.
Because everyone's doing it. Hey, it's monkey see, monkey do, man. One dude throws a bottle and everyone starts throwing bottles. You know, one person goes and hits a cop, jump kicks the cop or whatever on the line, you know, when he's got a shield, and everyone else starts doing it too. Like, well, fuck, they took, especially if the cops take it.
Yeah. Then, it's on.
Yeah. Dude, they sit there, and I don't blame them. I mean, I say I would too. I wouldn't, because I wouldn't be there. But
well, bro, no, it's funny you say that, because I've actually said that before. It's like, dude, when I was 20 years old, I craved violence. I craved chaos.
Yeah.
I just went a route that was considered socially acceptable.
Yeah.
But I mean, look at what you were seeking at 20 years old.
Yep.
Let's go to the other side of the world, to some war-torn shithole, and get in gunfights with people.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know what it is about the 20-year-old man's brain, but for me, I wasn't seeking that because of some like patriotic duty to America. Mm-hmm. It was like, I just want to fuck dudes up. Mm-hmm. And I think all these young kids that are doing this bullshit and these riots, these Antifa fucking morons, in their core, they don't know what they're doing either. They just want to fuck dudes up. Yeah. They just haven't directed that in any kind of positive way. And so, dude, I can... throwing a fucking Molotov cocktail at a police car, I get why that would be exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm 40 and I was a cop for a decade, and that even sounds fun to me.
Yeah.
But I can also realize how unreasonable that is and would never do that. But again, all it takes is a couple fucking people to get that fucking ball rolling. Come on, let's go. Fuck these cops.
Yep.
And boom, you know?
Yep. Yeah. I just can't believe how fast it goes. And I can't believe how far they continue to go, especially last year, man. It just kept getting worse and worse. They kept getting ballsier and ballsier, and I'm just sitting there like, dude, if you cops don't do something,
I'm about to.
It's just getting worse.
Yeah,
you know? Like, y'all have to fucking go crack some skulls, man. But I get it, because when you're being told that you can't crack skulls, and then if you do crack skulls,
you're going to be the one that's arrested.
You're fucked.
Yeah. And I know cops that got criminally prosecuted for exactly that, dude. So,
and it's like, you only have to lose. And it's so fucked up too, because there's no breaks given to, a cop that lashes out because he just can't fucking take the shit talking or whatever anymore. And he mouths off. He's like, said something like, fuck you or whatever. It's like, I was fucking your mother last night, and everyone's like, oh shit. Then that goes, that's on video, and then and now that cop's fired,
Yeah.
And
there's
or punches a dude, you just can't take it. And like the cop that, like the black woman, like hits that cop or slaps that cop,
and he laid her ass out.
It's like, damn it, like, don't do that again. And she does it again, and the cop behind her, she didn't know the cop was behind her. Yeah, just boom, lays her out, big old black dude, and lays that bitch out, man. And he gets in trouble for it. I can't remember if he got fired for it or not, but he got in trouble for it. And I'm like, how do you not give guys breaks on that with all the abuse?
It's not even breaks, man. Like SOP. Why should I have to stand there and get assaulted? Yeah. I don't care if it's a fat lady or if it's a Brock Lesnar looking motherfucker. Yeah. If you're attacking me, I get to put your ass down. Yeah. So
no one. I don't care if you're a cop. I don't care. Whatever the situation is. Every human being, like, you shouldn't have to take that much abuse.
No, of course not.
In person like that, it's one thing or whatever online, but in person like that, having someone scream and yell at you and spit on you and throw piss and shit on you and just all the shit that they did. I mean, they were trying to freaking hurt you, maim you, kill you. And, thankfully they just don't have a little bit more balls, because then it'd be a lot more actual legit killing. But I'm just, I'm over here watching, the country, and I'm just like, man, I just hope to God that I'm never forced to pick up a rifle here and, fight, because that would just be so fucking unbelievably bad. I mean, I don't even know how many millions would die just from starvation alone from supply lines.
Oh, 100%, dude. 100%.
I mean,
no, if shit goes bad, it will go really bad.
Yeah.
And I don't think people understand what that looks like.
They really don't. They're like, let's burn it all down. And I'm like, you don't want to do that. Trust me. Because I've seen a country burned all down with the government just new.
Was wiped out. Yep.
Yeah, it doesn't go well.
No.
There's a lot of trial and error at your expense, by the way.
And if you're not a fucking savage, you're not going to make it, dude.
Mm-hmm. And savages, people that, that are very comfortable with violence will go very far in that world.
Yep.
People that have never even been punched in the face, let alone punched anyone in the face,
won't go so far.
They're going to have some problems, man, if they don't learn really, really fast, or just get lucky.
Yeah, dude. All right, so we keep going off on tangents, but I want to hear the story.
Back to the whole,
I want to hear the story of April 12th.
There you go.
Because that's fucking, I mean,
so,
I watched your documentary and it was heavy, dude.
Yeah.
Heavy. But I think, it's not like we need to tell all the heavy stories just because it's fucking like, that's what people want to hear. But I think people learn the best from people that have been through hardships firsthand and are willing to share it. Because a lot of people aren't willing to talk about stuff like this. You've been through it firsthand. And after watching that and listening to you talk about how you've come out a better person, bro, most people, including myself, I think if I went through what you went through, it's easy to sit here and say that I think I'd be a better person. But walking that fucking path, I think would break me, dude.
Yeah.
And so, just start at the beginning of that day, dude, and what transpired.
Yeah. So April 12th, 2003, in the city of Al Taramaya, it's like a suburb of northwest Baghdad. We went there. Still don't know why we went there. And just on the story itself, I've told the story so many times, and every time, I'm basically talking about failure, although I never even used that word until probably, I don't know, a year or so ago. So when I started implementing that word in my story, when I give my debriefs or AERs to students in firearms training classes or cops or SWAT teams or whatever. But that's what it was. It was a day that, I failed, and lost a gunfight. And man, dude, when I first said those words, that was hard. It took me 18 years now. So it took me 16, 17 years to say that word failure, that I actually failed, that I lost, a gunfight right after, winning a couple, in the same area. So, it's definitely, not the funnest thing to talk about, but yeah, dude, I'm right there with you. I wish more people would do it because there's so much knowledge gained from failures. And if you can learn from other people's failures without having to, experience those failures yourself, obviously you're going to be a better person for it. And you're going to pick up some tools to have for when you're ever in whatever kind of situation similar or remotely similar to the one you hear. So I don't know why we went there still. I've heard that we were looking for Saddam, which I don't think we were. Pretty sure they'd send some other units to do that before, 2-5. But we were either looking for Saddam or that way more plausible that a convoy was going through there the next day and that no Americans had been there yet in that city. So they wanted to, it was basically probing, to see if we were going to get shot at, so that way the convoy the next day would know what they're coming through. And we were in an intersection, and we crossed over a pontoon bridge, and we were in an intersection for about 15 or so minutes, 20 minutes. Some guys were eating chow. We were chilling. We'd done this so many times since we left Kuwait, where we get out and we, take a knee, get security or whatever for, however long, and then start eventually kind of punching out, getting more comfortable with the area, and then just kind of hanging around or whatever, keeping your eyes looking out for guns and shit like that, or any bad juju. But, you know, we were pretty lax. And 1 minute I noticed there was a lot of people around us, and the next minute there was fucking nobody.
Yeah, that's your telltale sign right there.
And the thing is, we all afterwards, every single Marine there that day was like, I knew something was wrong right when I noticed that. And it's like, fuck, man, why didn't you tell anybody? Yep. No one said anything, you know, because
you don't want to look like some sixth sense asshole,
or like you're being
a pussy,
scared, maybe, or dude, come on, man. Last time you said you got a feeling nothing happened, or I don't know. I mean, for whatever reason, no one said anything. And about the time that I was thinking that that's very odd, an RPG blows up, you know, comes in and blows up, and then I mean we basically just got hit by a hell of small arms fire and rocket propelled grenades from 2 directions in the T-shaped intersection that we were in. So you have the T, and our Amtraks were down here because the bridge that we came from, the other side of the river, was down here. So we crossed the bridge, got on their Amtraks here, and then we got hit from both of those directions. So I jumped into a fighting hole that was already there. It was already dug and it was an enemy fighting position. And me and a friend jumped in there and to cover, started just fucking shooting at anything and everything, you know, pissing ammo away, which disgusts me now to see, by the way. But those guys, just like me, don't know any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
God, that drives me crazy. Just with all the knowledge I have now, when it comes to shooting carbine and pistols and everything, and teaching, I'm just like, oh my God. But I just laid down a bunch of fire. Don't even know what I'm shooting at. Everyone else shooting, so I'm fucking shooting. And then we, at some point, we had to cease fire because a squad that we were covering crossed over in front of us, like 300 yards. Like they went down on the side of the road, but then they eventually crossed over, and you know, we ceased fire because we didn't want to hit our own guys. So that was the first time that me and my buddy kind of looked, you know, behind us and realized that our own, because that wasn't our squad that we covered, that wasn't our squad. Obviously, we'd be with them. And our squad actually took off behind us and left us there. And man, you want to talk about a shitty feeling? Like, I mean, the Amtraks were still there, and each Amtrak had, you know, 2 to 3 Marines in it, but they weren't our guys. There wasn't our platoon. And it's just like, where the fuck did our guys go? Like, they left us here? Are you fucking kidding me? And we didn't have comms or anything to talk to them. So, you know, when, like, I don't want to motherfuck anyone. You know, we were all young. And we all knew, you know, equally nothing. You know, we none of us knew anything about war or combat. Getting focused on things maybe you shouldn't focus on if you're a leader. You know, like I get it. My team leader, you know, wanted to get in the fight. But when you're a team leader, you know, you should be kind of directing your Marines to the fight, and only fighting when you need to, lay down fire when you need to. But for the most part, you're directing, you know, you're talking to the squad leader, communicating with your Marines. And, you know, he was eager to get in the fight, you know, and according to him, he assumed that me and the other dude went with another squad. And I don't know. Part of me is just like, how did you not check the kid verification? Call that squad leader up on the fucking headset and be like, hey, is Gardner with you? You know? But whatever. He didn't. So, and you know, he got his kills, you know, he went and got in a gunfight, and that's cool. But, you know, I think that, you know, I think that he probably should have made different choices that day. That said, I just want to make it completely clear that I'm not blaming him, you know, for being wounded or whatever, ruining my life or anything like that. I'm the one that fucking signed on the line. I'm the fucking one that wanted to go to war, couldn't wait to go to war, you know, slept, ate, you know, dreamt war all the time, you know, so that shit is 100% all on me. It's just that I mainly couldn't understand it. That was the thing that just annoyed me the most. Is I couldn't understand it. You know, we had learned since boot camp, accountability is everything. And, you know, you can't even leave the chow hall, you know, until in boot camp, until a DI has had accountability of every single Marine, literally counting every single Marine individually. And, you know, so I was just, I guess, not angry, disappointed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like when your dad says that and you're like, damn, man, that's even worse.
That
Dad.
stings worse. Exactly.
I guess that's kind of where I'm at on that. And I don't even worry about that up today. I usually don't even bring that part up. I usually, you know, just say like we got separated because of the fog of war, and I leave it at that. But I don't know. I think when it comes to leadership stuff, though, you know, it is good to hear stuff like that because can be very real and severe consequences for, you know, your actions, and you don't know what could be affected, whose life could be affected or whatever, I guess, by, you know, or could be even remotely shaped by your actions. So, you know, when you're in a leadership position, like, I mean, it's such an important position, even if it's just middle management or even lower than that. Like, it's an important position, and you should read up on leadership and actually walk, you know, the walk, not just talk the talk about being a leader and having your cool rank on your on your uniform and everything. That's cool. And, you know, now you know, all the boot Marines have to show you respect and all that stuff. Like, that's cool. But, you know, I don't know. I just wish the Marine Corps would maybe do a better job on leadership. And I'm just like, fuck, man, all you got to do is watch Jocko's podcast. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so, or I see you got it there, that about Facebook.
Yeah.
Hackworth. So we realized we're left behind, and we're like, fuck. It was just a lonely feeling. I mean, because we were there, and I'm like, I mean, I didn't know if, you know, something bad would happen, and we're not there to help. I mean, all sorts of shit was running through my head. Anyways, we wind up seeing the company XO running up. He like runs by himself across the damn pontoon bridge and shit. And he's like, hey, where's everyone at? And I'm like, well, sir, I think some guys went that way. And I know for a fact some guys went that way about 300 yards and hooked a left. So they're down there somewhere. And he's like, roger that. He starts taking off. And I'm like, hey, sir, you want us to go with you for, you know, security and shit? And I didn't say it like that. But, hey, sir, you want us to go with you for security? And he's like, no, stay here and guard the Amtraks. And I'm just sitting there like, each Amtrak has a gunner, a 50 cal and a Mark 19 mounted on it, and 3 Marines inside. Each one has M16. Like, I think they're good. I don't think 2 more Marines with only M16s are going to really help that much more than a 50 cal and a Mark 19. And, oh yeah, the tanks are on the other side of the bridge. They can probably fucking shoot anything too. But anyways, we stayed there, and then all of a sudden we just heard a hellacious volume of fire, man, come from that direction that he went, and the direction of the Marines that we had covered, second squad, that we had covered earlier. And I just kind of like looked at a buddy and was like, dude, fuck the XO, man, let's go. And he was all about it. He's like, fuck yeah. If I wouldn't have said it, he probably would have said it like 2 seconds after. And we decided to go ahead and leapfrog, you know, bump and bound positions about 30 yards. We sprinted about probably 30 yards-ish every time, each one of us. And we would just leapfrog over each other into the next piece of cover and everything, cover each other's movement. And at that moment was the first moment in war that I was actually scared, because the reality of it hit me, of what we were doing without even thinking about it. Just like, hey, let's go. Fuck yeah, let's go. Boom, go. It's like, have we come up with a plan first? You know what I mean? Or something. And some contingencies. But yeah, we just went, man. And we didn't have comms. So I just started kind of thinking, like, not panicking, but just starting to get worried. Like, if we get contact with someone, I hope it's just one guy. If we get pinned down, where are we going? You know, we can't call anyone. What if we get shot by fucking, you know, something from the air? Because you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, fuck. There's no way to tell anyone where we're at. So, anyways, thankfully nothing. We didn't run into any contact, any bad guys. So we wound up linking up with the Marines. I think it was about over 300 yards away of the movement that we did to structure that they had just cleared and there was a hole blown in the side of the house, and there was like a million bullet holes. And I guess that was the explosion and gunfire that I'd heard from that building. They just cleared, and I see my or not my, but the squad leader of that squad sitting down by the front door, just sitting leaning up against it, and there was like a 6 foot long, skinny, small blood trail coming away from him. And I was like, oh fuck, he's Corporal Tardif's wounded, and he was like the most badass rock star in our platoon. And I was just like, shit, man, fuck, if you can get wounded, he's supposed to be God, man. He's like the most badass dude we got here in this whole platoon of ours. And I don't know, that definitely kind of like took me back, man. It kind of shocked me that it was him. But another Marine took over the squad and said, hey, you're with us now, let's go. So we went went to cross the street into a house that they took contact from, I guess, right before I got there. Because I never saw any, but I guess they did. So they had already shot a rocket into it from the rooftop of that building into the next building. So we crossed the street to go to that next building where they took contact from. Contact from, and some guys cleared that, and me and another Marine were trying to get into a house that I actually later learned, years later, using Google Earth, that it was not a house, it was a detached garage, which it just, like I'll tell guys now, like, it's awesome if you have the freaking, the phone, that flips down and everything now with all your maps and GPS and waypoints and objectives and all sorts of information, those guys have now. Or even just a map, on your freaking forearm there just to see the layout of the buildings and, okay, that's north. Okay, I get it. I'm good. But, with no maps or anything, even you're right there next to it and you don't know what this building is. I thought it was a house, but it was just a detached garage. And, it's good to slow down sometimes to try and figure out, like, okay, what structure is this? Is this connected? You know what I mean? Before you just try and kick the door in. But anyway, so I'm just trying to kick the shit out of this door so I can go, do some more one-man CQB, which I don't think at that point it's called CQB anymore. But I'm kicking the shit out of this door and it's not budging. And then the guys that they finished clearing the building that they had taken fire from, literally right next door to us, and they were shooting out of the second deck windows from a bedroom, and they were shooting down into what I thought was the backyard of this house that I was at, but it was really just a side field of this house. Don't know if they owned it or not, but it was just a field that was there. And there was a structure in the backyard that we referred to as a bunker, but it was really like a one-room guest house or maybe even a storage. I never went in it. I just saw it from the outside and took fire from it. So it was either for guests or for like storage, like a storage building, but it was just like a mud building. So it was small little structure. And I had a few small venting portholes in it, but not like actual windows or anything. And I run around the corner and I see this structure, and everyone's kind of already shooting at it. That's in that, backyard or field. But they're firing from behind cover, and the only way I could have shot at the building is to expose myself. And I'm like, well, fuck, if I'm exposing myself, I'm kind of doing it for no reason because I'm just shooting at the same thing at the same angle that these guys are shooting at. So why am I even going to shoot at this fucking thing? So then I was like, well, what else can I do? And since I was not with my fire team or squad, nobody was telling me what to do. And because we never cross-trained like that, we never said, what happens if we all get fucking mixed up? Mm-hmm. And even within CQB or something, like in a structure, I'm not even talking about something like this where you get completely split up. I'm talking even just like a small structure, clearing a small structure, one team gets mixed in with another. Like, you should be able to all be on the same sheet of music, so that everyone knows I can work with anybody in this entire unit and we're going to function good.
Yeah, for sure.
But, you know, I didn't think about that shit back then. So I didn't know that was even remotely an issue until, you know, I got separated from my team and squad. And, you know, it just, we didn't know what to do, really. We didn't know what to, I don't know. I didn't know, like, do I ask them, like, hey, what do you want me to do, Corporal? Or do I just wait for him to say, you know what I mean? And they kind of forgot I was there. So since I was a tag along, so I just decided to go ahead and try and flank this, you know, bunker. And I figured if we could hit it from two sides, that's better than just shooting it from one side. So I went ahead and made my way around the corner of the, you know, house that I was at. Hey, down. Good girl. Sorry, my dog here. You think you can stretch? Did I give you fucking permission to stretch? You will sit your ass there. Do not make any noise. Don't ruin this podcast. So I made my way around this, you know, this structure and that garage that I was at. I made my way around the corner of it and saw, you know, I kept an eye on that bunker as I was moving to a position I was moving in, and I called some movement, so I went ahead and posted up with my M16, and it was a bad guy low crawling away from that bunker, that small bunker. I assume he was going the same way I was going. We were both going the opposite direction, so I think that he was probably trying to flank us or get behind us because they would do that kind of shit, you know, in the urban fighting a lot. You know, try and cut you off or get in between, you know, cut a platoon in two, shit like that. So I assume he's trying to flank us. I mean, because that's what I was trying to do to them. And we were both moving the same way. But he didn't see me. I saw him first. And I went and posted up on him and like unloaded almost every fucking round I had in there. Because they was the first guy that I had seen that I'd shot that I knew without a doubt that bullets were hitting him. And I also knew without a doubt they were mine and not others.
Yeah.
Other guys didn't have the angle on this guy. And I didn't have the angle on this guy until I moved, you know, until I moved the direction that I moved, which opened up more angles. Just like, you know, CQB, the more you move, the vastly more you see. Just, you know, weaponized geometry. So I see him post up, shoot, and I'm just like, holy shit, man. And just, you know, hitting him with one round after the next. Really, the only reason I stopped is because his buddy started shooting at me. And, you know, it was definitely, you know, immaturity or lack of discipline. And also just bad training with shooting. Because there's too many times. There's no reason for me to shoot that many times, you know. It was just, I was amped the fuck up. You know, it was just freaking, man, pegged out to 10. And so I'm shooting him, and it's like, you know, if I would have, like, we didn't even know, you know, basic biology. Like, what are you even trying to hit when you're shooting someone? Like, what are you aiming for? Yeah, I get it. Okay, center mass or whatever, or the center of mass of whatever you can see, which is not always the right answer, but whatever. Okay, center mass. What does that mean? You know, well, obviously it's, you know, pump outs, heart, lungs, and otherwise it's the face and it's the CNS shot. So we didn't know that though at the time. They didn't tell us how many rounds does it take to kill someone. It's like, well, technically everyone's different. You know, you can shoot two people in the same exact spot that both weigh the same weight, or a clone, and the bullet's going to do something different every time, you know? So, you know, the answer is, you know, how many rounds does it take? Well, everyone's different. You know, it takes as many as it takes. So, you know, we didn't have this knowledge, and we didn't have the discipline of, you know, ideally, you know, shooting someone to the ground. Once they're on the ground, now they can't run, so you shoot them in the face. That's just kind of, you know, how it's done when someone knows what they're doing. You know what I mean? And but we just didn't have that training, so I just sat there and shot like a jackass on this guy, and was so amped up, and saw another muzzle pop out at me from behind him, so slightly to my right. So I just kind of went from this angle to this angle. But now I'm taking rounds. I'm actively taking fire. He saw me first before I saw him. So now it's like the same exact thing, but just switched now.
Yeah.
So,
and how far away at this point?
Yes, I forgot. At this point, 25 yards ish.
That's fucking
Yeah. So
for
25 yards.
For a rifle fight. That's, I mean,
Yeah.
you're on top of each other.
Yeah, definitely. And I just saw fireballs coming out of that thing from him shooting full auto from the waist. I only had a small silhouette, talking about like not always center mass, because I only had half of his chest to work with, his head, and then maybe part of one leg. He was just leaning out, shooting from the waist from cover. So I didn't have much to work with to aim at, much flesh. And he was already shooting at me. And that, it's one thing when you get to post up on a guy and take your time, but now when you're taking fire from a guy that's at that distance, like, it's like a little bit of poop comes out. You know what I mean? It's just like, instantly that you're kind of in a bad way. And, thankfully he didn't hit me with those rounds, and I shifted and I just basically dumped the rest of that mag and caught him either with a round or it's always possible that just some spalling hit the wall and fragged him. But I caught him with something, either with some spall or a round. And I saw him fall down backwards, fell out. He fell out of sight, and I was like, hey, cool. I'm doing pretty good at this combat thing. It's like 2 guys in 10 seconds. Fuck yeah, Man. I'm new at this, but damn, I'm fucking good. Awesome. So I, shoot him, watch him fall. Hey, fuck yeah. I'm all motivated and amped up, thinking I got this thing in the bag. And go ahead and do what I would on the rifle range back home at Camp Pendleton, California. And first I realized I'm out of ammo. So I shift to my right to put that bunker between me and anyone else that's inside of it or behind it, like that guy was. And at that point, I conducted my very non-tactical reload of pointing my weapon down in a good, safe direction, because I'm thinking more flat range rules instead of,
war rules,
real world, rules, or definitely war rules. So I point my weapon down and I pull his magazine out. I take this precious empty piece of aluminum because I don't want to get NJP'd or get my ass kicked for losing a piece of issued equipment. You know what I mean? I wasn't actively thinking that in the moment, but that's the
muscle memory that you're going through. Yeah.
You've been programmed since day one of boot camp. You do not lose your shit. If you do, there will be hell to pay, and you can possibly get NJP depending on what it is, and I'm just like, fuck, they're pretty intense in this Marine Corps. Damn, they didn't show this on the fucking recruiting commercials. So I retain that fucking magazine, this empty, magazine. I start retaining it in a double mag pouch that already has a magazine in it. So, how those are, like, you have to rock it back and forth. Boom, finally get it sunk down in there. I grabbed a fresh mag, pulled it out. I had to adjust it in my hand because I actually had the rounds facing up instead of down because I tried the rounds down thing, but rounds were like, I would always find loose rounds in there. And I didn't know then, but I know now that more likely those magazines were just beat to shit from being used and reissued so many times in peacetime that the feed lips, had feed lip creep. So it was letting rounds pop out of there when I would have it upside down with any jolt or movement or whatever, or get down the prone. So I actually had them rounds facing up. I was like, well, I guess they only do that in the movies. People, real warriors don't do that or something. But it's just because I had shitty magazines. So I pull it out, adjust it in my hand, and the reason I get into this is because it all takes time.
Yeah.
And time is just fucking crucial in a gunfight. It's everything. Timing, everything in a gunfight. And I went ahead and adjusted it. Yeah, okay. Adjusted it in my hand, got it in the mag well, seat, bolt release, regripped, and I looked up finally after, my just abomination of a reload of 8 to 10 seconds from the moment I realized I was empty to the moment of moving and then doing that, 8 to 10 seconds. That's a fucking eternity. And I looked back up and the same guy that I just shot and watched him fall assumed I either very much so incapacitated him or more than likely killed him because I think it's just that mentality of the Marine Corps that we had at the time. You'd hear shit like, one shot, one kill, ready to die, but never will.
Yeah.
Shit like that, outside the chow hall and boot camp. And you're like, fuck yeah, one shot, one kill. And yeah, one shot, one kill is bullshit. That just, anyone who's shot people, like that's not how it goes. Sometimes, if you hit someone in a certain spot, AKA central nervous system, that's the only off switch in the entire body though. Otherwise, you might be dead in like 15 seconds if you get your heart exploded, but it's still going to take more time. So that time is just everything. And I took so much time doing that reload, man. And I look back up and this guy's aiming in at me already with an AK-47. And so I realized, he had gotten back up after he was, wounded or whatever, and dusted himself off and looked around the corner of the bunker, didn't see me there anymore. So that means I must have gone where I came from. So he just crept down the wall of that bunker until he got to the corner of it. And now he could see me at an angle on me. And I had no idea what to do. Fucking nothing. I was just like, fuck, that's not good. So I didn't know anything about shooting on the move or moving off line of attack, just getting off the X in general. If you're ambushed when you're on foot, like in that kind of situation, like when you're already actively in a gunfight and you get surprised by something like that, of just, fucking even just being like, oh, fuck, and then hauling ass, offline around a corner or something. I didn't even, none of that even crossed my mind. The only thing that crossed my mind is fucking kill this guy really fast, So I started to raise my rifle, and it feels like I had, from my memory, who knows, maybe I was down here, but from my memory, it seems like I felt like I had like an inch or two more to go to level the gun to break the shot at this fucking guy. And I see, and this time he was shouldering the gun as well. He was not firing from the hip anymore. He was shouldering the gun properly, because I guess he had time to do that since I was looking down when he saw me. And I just see a muzzle flash. And at that point, I just see darkness. And, it's like muzzle flash and dark. And I heard a loud ringing in my ears. Didn't know what that was. Still don't. And everything kind of sounded like Charlie Brown voices, or like the gunshots and stuff. It wasn't really loud anymore. It's an audio exclusion going on, or auditory exclusion. And I hadn't started to quite panic yet, but I knew I didn't know what was wrong with me. I knew something was wrong with my body. So I knew I'm hurt. I don't know why or how. And then I kind of clicked like, oh yeah, I think I'm shot. I can't feel anything. That's weird. Like, I can't feel any pain or anything. Hey, I should crawl around the corner of this building to get, call for a corpsman. And then I tried to move and I couldn't move. And I was actually paralyzed from the neck down. That first, 10, 20 minutes or so, I was paralyzed from the neck down. I was quadriplegic until, I guess, just from the initial, from how it's been explained to me, not a doctor, but the initial trauma to the spinal cord makes it kind of, reverberate, or just that initial trauma just makes you, it is what caused me to not feel or move anything from the neck down. And then slowly, over 10 or 15 minutes or 20, however long it was, I slowly started to be able to move my arms a little bit. And then I slowly could start actually kind of gripping things and getting everything back, except for the lower body that always stayed the same. So I was paralyzed from the neck down at first. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And I'm like, fuck, I can't move. I can't feel like, am I being scared right now? Like, am I just so terrified that I can't move? Is that what it is?
Yeah. You think you're paralyzed by fear rather than.
I literally questioned myself. I was like, am I being a little fucking bitch right now? Is that one of my bodies? And I'm like, no, something's really fucking wrong with me. I can't move shit. I can't even feel shit. So that's when I realized that, I'm in a really bad way. And, oh yeah, I just remembered I got shot. I wonder if that guy is still, he's still over there and he's fucking shooting at me. So I'm watching this guy that had just shot me and paralyzed me. And also the way that I landed when I forgot to cover this, when I fell, I basically fell collapsed just like a sack of potatoes, man. Once it hit my spinal cord, just turned off everything below that level, and my body just crumpled. And my butt pack that we would wear at the time, that's what prevented me from falling over, I think, because I never fell over. I was basically like I'm sitting on my knees the whole time after I was shot. And I was basically sitting on my knees, and the butt pack that I had on my ass, possibly even a day pack, I can't remember.
Just kind of propped you up.
You know, that's how we used to sleep that way.
Yeah.
You know, like leaning back on your day pack and butt pack. So yeah, I was kind of doing that, like leaning back a little bit, and that's it. My hands were like flopped, just kind of in my lap like this or something. My rifle I wasn't wearing a sling, so it fell end over end. So it was in front of me like 4 or 5 feet. And I can't figure out what's going on. And then I look and see the guy still shooting at me. And that, man, shit got real at that point. You know, I was talking about panic. Man, when that happened, when I realized he's about to finish me off, like I just got done finishing off his fucking friend with, you know, almost an entire mag. And for whatever reason, you know, it's so weird how, especially how you can remember these things, but let alone like just think of them in the first place in moments of stress like that. But for whatever reason, my head thought I'm pretty much guaranteed to be shot in the face. He's gonna, one of those rounds, I don't know why I was thinking this, but like he's gonna hit me in the fucking face, and my parents are not gonna be able to see me, you know, closed casket and everything. Like I just kept imagining this round entering and then exiting and just blowing the entire rear end of my skull out the back of my head and through the wall behind me. And I screamed for help, and like even thinking about this blood curdling, high pitched, my voice cracked and everything because I just screamed with everything I had. It was just a terrible sounding scream, man. Like, you know, when people think they're dying, man, like that scream, dude, is just, it's different. You know, it's different than an average scream for help or call for help. It's just, it sounds different. And mine did. It was just sounded horribly. And I said, hell, no, help, I'm fucking shot. And had to throw a fuck in there, of course. And then I passed out from just the shock of it was too much. It was just too much going on. I was taking in too much, and I was fucking scared. My body just was like, all right, and you're freaking out. You're done, you know? And so I passed out, and then I woke up, and I had been drugged around the corner of this house, and I no longer heard tons of gunfire or explosions or anything. I even saw a 40 millimeter go off, you know, right in front of me, and it wasn't loud at all. It was just like, and I was like, that wasn't bad. I mean, it was just literally everything sounded like, you know, womp, 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 and it went off, and I was like, damn, that's not as loud as I thought it would be. It was so weird, man, just a real experience. And so I remember all these jarheads were staring down at me. And I'm looking up at all these guys, and I'm just like, this can't be good, you know, because the looks on these guys' faces are not exactly ones that would inspire hope that, you know, things are going to go well for you. They were obviously fucking terrified. Some of them were terrified. Some of them were able to kind of maintain their composure a lot better. Some could maintain it mostly, and there was a couple, 2 or 3, that just, it was all over their face, man. You're dying, you're dead, you're fucked. You know, these guys, they're seeing what you're not seeing. And during the time I was passed out, which was only for a few minutes, 5 minutes max. I've always said 5 minutes. Who knows? Maybe it was 2, maybe it was 10. Just go with 5. So as soon as I passed out, the guy, the team leader that took over the squad, picked up an enemy RPG that they had left behind when they fled the house initially, because I think they had it staged there actually, so that way they could retreat, grab, you know, because they, you know, they do that over there, of course, and stage weapons, have weapons caches. I think that's maybe what they initially planned to do, but they just ran past it, went in that bunker and started shooting it out from there. So he picked up an RPG and shot their own RPG at them, which is pretty cool. And
Ahmed, blue on blue.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I hold you to fire, Ahmed. Fuck you, it's not Ahmed, motherfucker. Yeah. So he shoots RPG, man, and that quiets him down pretty good from what I was told. Yeah, all this heroic shit too is happening like right in front of me, and I didn't see any of it because I was passed out like a little bitch. So, they're telling me that, like, afterwards, when it was all explained to me in detail, they're telling me that he picked up the enemy RPG, that he couldn't figure out the trigger system on it because we had been showed how to do that. Although because of this event, they started teaching the guys that on before their next deployment. They went to the range and shot all the enemy weapons and stuff. And after he shot it, he said that it quieted him down, and two guys, including the team leader, the squad leader that was wounded by that frag grenade earlier with the blood trail.
Mm-hmm.
So he was wounded with an enemy frag grenade. And he was one of the Marines that he heard on the headset that, Gardner's hit. And he went and hobbled his ass, like 100 yards into that backyard or field. And him and another Marine came out there and started dragging me out of line of fire. When they did that, that was a very good, juicy target to have 3 Marines, none of who are shooting at you, So, of course, they tried to kill us. We would have obviously done the same thing to them,
yeah, of course,
and have. But my guy, my buddy, man, he just kind of lost his shit when he saw that they were shooting at us. And because, they were trying to get me out of there, and he just got enraged, man. So he went ahead and prepped a frag grenade, pulled the pin from where he was, and then just started like hauling ass. Once he prepped it, he hauled ass to that bunker, let the spoon fly part of the way there, which obviously we're not trained to do that. At least I wasn't. I don't know. Were you trained to ever let it
cook it off?
Yeah. Were you?
No, they talk about it, but obviously we never did any like reps of cooking a frag.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we didn't either. I mean, they told us that's not something you ever do. That's only in movies. Don't ever fucking do that or whatever. But fuck, 5 seconds is a long time for someone to throw that bitch back at you, man. So so he cooked it, especially in a small building like that. They could have easily grabbed that. But he put it in a small porthole or something. He like dropped it down in there and it blew up. And then he went in there and just kind of finished everybody off.
What a fucking savage, dude.
Right? The best phone call I ever got. I'll make you have to wait for that. Like a commercial. The best phone call I ever got was when they all called me, and I was in the VA hospital in Houston, and a month and a half or so after I got wounded, and they all lined up and called me, and he got on the phone. He's like, dude, I don't know which one of those guys shot you, so I just fucking went up to every one of them and shot him in the face like 3 times, dead check him, and you definitely got your fucking payback though. And I'm just like, fuck yeah,
dude.
So that, I mean, I was so motivated when he told me that, because I was pretty sure, I assumed that the guy that shot me didn't get away,
but
I didn't know until I knew, and that made me feel so much better, man, knowing that guy got his in the end. And, sometimes people will, mainly because they don't know what to say. So I never get offended because of it. Intent matters to me. So, they don't know what to say. They'll be like, oh, I'm really sorry that happened to you, like just at the airport, meeting some random person.
Yeah.
And, I'll tell them like, hey, no, I'm good. You should see the other guy, And, and sometimes they kind of look at me like, I don't get it. What do you mean? I'm like, oh, he's fucking dead. I'll just be kind of blunt about it. Like, oh, he's fucking dead. He got shot a bunch of times. So, I'm doing pretty good comparatively. But yeah, I knew right away that something was wrong. I didn't know I was paralyzed from the waist down. I didn't know what the name was for it. I knew paralyzed was, but I didn't know spinal cord injury or any of the medical jargon. So I just wake up with all these jarheads standing over me, and the Navy corpsman, has his aid bag open and he's doing shit, giving me an IV and some other stuff. And he was actually trying to. So what happened? I don't know how I didn't even share this crucial part of the information. But so when I got shot under the left armpit. That's another kind of error I was making, was that I was shooting Marine Corps marksmanship style. This fucking
the bladed stance,
like bullshit.
Yeah,
like, dude. Such garbage. Such fucking garbage. Great for one thing, and that's competitive shooting. At distance, under no stress, essentially. Like, not two-way range kind of stress. But it's not, a gunfighter's stance. If you're actually someone going into harm's way, that's not how you should be doing. Unless you're shooting someone from like 300 yards away, they don't know you're there, and you're just like, hey, boys, watch this one.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to get in the prone. Check this shit out from back in boot camp. Remember when we did this fucking stupid shit? Bam, I can see it from that. But yeah, man, I was standing bladed, and because of that, I got shot under the left armpit. We didn't have side armor at the time because that just wasn't a thing for big Army and Marine Corps. Or I don't know if it was. Did y'all have side plates? Yeah, okay, no. Yeah. No one really was rocking side plates at the time until guys like me started getting shot in the flanks. And man, like most of the guys though that would get shot in the way that I did. I'm the only one that actually I'm not the only one, because I met another one on that show and on Vet TV. She was also shot, a crossbody shot on the other side. I was on the left side, she was on the right side. And neither of us died from it, but every other case I've ever heard of, you get a cross. That's how you shoot animals.
That's how you shoot a deer. Yeah, exactly.
You crossbody shot, lung, heart, lung. That's what you're going for, lungs and heart. And so most people, they get either both lungs punched out or, most get hit in the heart. So, the fact that I even lived is just like, holy shit,
What did the round do when it entered your body?
Yeah, so it entered just in the armpit, and it immediately hit the spleen was the first thing it hit, and it blew that fucking thing apart, and what was left of my spleen was removed. So it hit my spleen, punctured my left lung, and so when it went in, it nosedived immediately. So it entered here, but it exited like 6 inches lower in the middle of my back.
Got it.
So it got shot kind of at this angle right here. And the backside B plate caught it or whatever on the way out. But because the angle that it took, it lacerated, blew apart my spleen, punctured my left lung. The secondary wound cavity from the hydrostatic shock of the round, moving so fast.
Yeah.
It lacerated my stomach and kidney because it's displacing that, your stomach and kidney are just kind of hanging out in space there in the guts. And all of a sudden, from nowhere, they get accelerated from 0 miles an hour to however, getting expanded and contracting back again. And that you get all sorts of tears and everything of your organs when that happens. And I was, no exception. And so stomach and kidney got lacerated. My left kidney actually it looks a little funky, has like a little chunk that's missing. Just very small though. And then it completely severed my spinal cord at the T12L1 level and blew a chunk of my vertebrae out of my back as well. So, and they had to bridge that to make it stabilize and put some rods and pins and hardware and everything back there to stabilize my vertebrae now. So, yeah, so that bullet, it just fucked me up, man. It really fucked me up. And I remember laying there after they, got me into the Amtrak and were taking me to get medevac. I was laying there and I kind of realized I'd had a little freak out earlier. When I came to, because I made the mistake of kind of looking at the wound because I was curious. Everyone was looking right here. And so I was like, what's there? And saw some blood just kind of gooping out of this small hole. And I just started losing my shit, man. I just started panicking. And the XO all of a sudden comes up from nowhere. He's like, hey. And I look back and I see him. And I'm like, oh, fuck, he's going to yell at me for, disobeying his order to stay put. And, I don't know. I wasn't obviously thinking rationally at the time. And he's just like, everyone calm the fuck down. Everyone grab a fucking leg and just get him out of here. Quit dicking around with ponchos or whatever the fuck, to carry me. Because guys are trying to like, hey, get a poncho. I don't
make
have
a
one.
field expedient litter.
Yeah, it's like, dude, just fucking grab a piece of them and fucking go, So that's basically what he told him to do. And then he comes over to me and with the most fucking confident voice I've ever heard in my life, looks me right in the eye, doesn't break eye contact, and says, hey, devil dog, you're going to be all right. Don't worry. We're going to get you out of here. It took me from
Bro, that's giving me goosebumps just hearing you.
Yeah, it took me from up here and just calmed me down, man.
Wow.
And it's crazy how, what that can do for somebody that's scared, just that utter 100% confidence, in the way that you talk to them and try and comfort them. Because like literally 30 seconds or a minute before that, I had some other dude try and comfort me. And he was like, I won't try and do his New York accent, but he was just like, don't worry, Gardner, you'll be okay, buddy. And I was just like, you fucking lying piece of shit.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? You're lying to me because you can't even fucking talk straight without fucking damn near crying. Like, come on, man. Your tears are about to fall on me and shit. So yeah, I knew I was, bad off when that happened. And so, yeah, man, that all that confidence that XO exhibited, and he was a Mustang, a former enlisted guy. And man, that made all the difference. I was like, okay, cool. Roger that, sir. And they loaded me up in the Amtrak, carried me there, dropped me once, but that's all right. I forgive them. And I get in the back of that thing, and then I start kind of having a little bit more time to think. And I kind of just accepted death, man. I don't know how I just knew I was going to die. Like, it wasn't any hope for me. Not that I didn't want to have hope. I was 100% sure. Did I seriously turn this back on? Oh my God, what a shitbag I am. Wow, I even turned it off ahead of time, and somehow I turned it back on. Wow, what a shitbag. Anyways, so, fuck, where was I just at?
You said you knew you were going to die in the back of that Amtrak.
Yeah. I don't know how, I can't explain it, but I just knew that it wasn't a survivable wound. I knew that it was bad. I just was so weak. I was so fucking tired. And I would love to say that, I had the attitude of, I thought about, my whoever the fuck back home. And I said, at that point, not today. I'm not going to die today. Like, I don't have that story. My story is a little bit, more,
based in reality.
Yeah.
Probably
more normal human being, I guess, where,
yeah.
I'm just like, yeah, man, I'm so tired. Like, I'm trying to stay awake, but I couldn't fight it, man. And
so you had lost a substantial amount of blood to that point. Then.
Yep. And I didn't have morphine or anything. He was afraid. He didn't know what all was hit. So he was too afraid to give me morphine. So it was definitely the blood loss that was causing me to want to pass the fuck out. Well, the thing is, they didn't know that I was bleeding out of my back still because, and once again, goes just back to training.
Yeah.
Man, how things have evolved on the medical side. Our corpsman trusted a Marine to do a blood sweep, essentially. Only it wasn't a blood sweep. It was, hey, put your hand under his armor on his back and see if there's an exit wound. Check for an exit wound. And I remember this Marine, That's Corporal Tyrone, like doing that. He did exactly what I told him to do. He's like, no, blood, he's good. Well, the bullet entered here, so he did my upper back. But if he would have done my entire back, or better yet, just get me fucking naked, cut everything off, get me naked, do a proper blood sweep, which they do now, but SOPs were just non-existent.
Yeah, they were lacking.
Different back then, dude. People were having to like dust shit off and be like, wait, how do we do this war thing again?
Well, as fucked up as it is to say, it's incidents like this which has tightened everything up, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know, and like I said, it happens in every war. You know, we have to relearn these lessons all over again. And so I don't know. I just had really no hope that I knew I was dead. You know, I knew I was dying, and it was only a matter of time. I was going to try and stay awake as long as I could, but I still wound up passing out a couple times. My friend Miguel bitch slapped the shit out of me, man. I mean, he fucking reared back. He was just like, wake the fuck up, Gardner. Bitch slaps the hell out of me. And I'm just like, dude, really? Like, I'm over here trying to fucking just die peacefully, and you're going to interrupt that and fucking hit me when I'm already shot, you dick. You know?
Bro, that interruption.
Yeah.
It was fucking saving you.
Yeah.
Maybe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, like, but, you know, thank God. You know, thank God he slapped me and kept me awake. And he wasn't going to let me, pass out in the dock at that point. Was like, hey, don't let him pass out again. So then I also asked same guy, Miguel, to say a prayer, because he was always like the most religious guy in the platoon. You know, you always have one. And he was also like, he did missionary work with his wife afterwards and stuff. So I knew he was religious already. And I was like, hey, dude, can you say a prayer for me? Because I knew I was going to die, and I was basically just wanting like kind of like a last prayer. And he's like, yeah, God, we're going to fucking kill all these motherfuckers, every fucking one. And I'm just like, dude, I don't think you're like, I'm trying to kind of get into heaven right now because I'm pretty sure I'm dying, and I don't think you're helping with your hate-filled fucking rage fest of a prayer. Like, that's not the prayer I was expecting, dude. So he says his hate-filled prayer, but the thing is it made me laugh when he did it, you know, which meant that it took my mind momentarily, if only momentarily, away from
impending death,
impending doom. Like I'm literally at this point intentionally like, okay, what's this death process about? And trying to go through check all the boxes. Like, I'm like kind of trying to do that because I just assume I'm dying, you know? And then he says this fucking hate-filled prayer, and it made me laugh, man, which took my mind off of that. So I have nothing but, you know, for love for that guy, and you know, he helped save my life, kept me awake, bitch slapped me, said pretty funny prayer, and you know, he helped keep me alive, man. And I wound up getting dropped off at a field, and then a helicopter came in. It was a fucking Huey, and they loaded me up there, and once again, it was kind of like, you know, what are the odds? But my head was kind of hanging out one of the doors, and both doors were open, and there was a door gunner in one of them, and he didn't make eye contact with me once. He looked at me like one time, and I kind of gave him this look like, please help me. And after that, he was just like, don't look at the dying guy. Just scan for threats. Scanning for threats. Don't look down. This is going to be awkward, you know? And I remember just staring at him, and I'm just like, fuck, he's not going to look at me again, is he? And I wanted him to shut the fucking door, but there's no way he could have heard anything I was saying anyways. It's so fucking loud in those things. But my head kept, every time I would start passing out, my head would kind of do this, because if I didn't forcibly hold it up like that, it was going to fall back. So because it would do that, I would get woken up because my wind would catch in the wind. My head would catch in the wind and start whipping like that in the wind. And I'd be like, fuck. And I'd have to hold it up again. I couldn't hold it anymore. I start kind of passing out again, losing consciousness. Wind. I'm like, motherfucker, can I just not die in goddamn peace here? Like, I'm starting to get pissed off about this whole fucked up death process that I'm having, because it's not going very well. And then we start descending. And I mean, at that point, like I turned and I saw the station, not the MASH station, but the aid station, battalion aid station, which at that point was mobile. It was constantly moving with us still.
Mm-hmm.
And they were rushing out with, the stretcher on the wheels and everything. And at that point, part of me started to actually think like, I'm like, is there even a possibility of me surviving this? And, I was scared. It wasn't until I did that, I guess, documentary thing that I realized, that was the first time I'd ever said some of that stuff. Most of it I'd already told before, but some of the stuff in that story on that one, because of the environment that they set up, and hearing other veterans tell their shit, man, like every one of us just got really deep. It was the deepest most raw I've ever, told that story. But, I remember then it just kind of popped in my head. Like I remember, like kind of having hope, but being scared to have hope, because what if that hope just gets fucking shattered,
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. And to go back and forth with that mindset of I'm dying or, oh, maybe I'm not. It's like,
Yeah.
I
So
just
since
wanted an answer,
you'd kind of accepted it.
Yeah.
You didn't want to go
now,
back and forth.
Yeah. Now I have this thing dangling in front of me like, hey, over here, so I was glad I was there, and I was starting to have some hope, but I was also kind of scared, very scared still that, I was going to die, and, maybe not get too excited just yet, but at this point I'm so out of it anyways, just from losing all that blood that, I was still pretty chill. And I remember getting an IV in each arm in the aid station, and they said, what's your name? For some reason, I told them my first name. I don't know why. I said Paul, probably because they were Navy dudes. I was like, they're cool. So I was like, Paul. They said, where are you from, Paul? And I said, Moore, Oklahoma. He said, don't worry, Paul, you're not going to die. And I said, okay. And I passed out. And that's the last thing I remember, man. I woke up a week and a half later in Bethesda Naval Hospital in Maryland in the ICU, a surgical ICU. And yeah, man, I woke up to the most incredible pain, I've almost ever felt. I had like exploratory surgery cut. So I had a T cut in my chest from when they had gone and seen, what all's fucked up that we need to repair in Kuwait at the aid stations when they did that. And then they cut open my back. So I have a long incision down the middle of my back from, going in there and seeing what exploratory to see what part of the spine was hit, or if it was hit. They're pretty sure it was, now they confirmed it and all that stuff. And, I don't know, like saw my mom and dad there, and my sister and stuff. And, I had to wait a few days to be, cause I was still intubated, and they took the breathing tube out there. I could finally, talk and stuff like that. And first, my dad was the first person I told my story to. And that initial, waking up and thinking about it, that soon after the event, man, when I told that story the first time, I was just like, it was intense, man. It was really intense, just kind of thinking about it, because I wasn't just talking about it. I was also recalling it at the same time, because I'd never thought about it or told it yet, like, okay, what actually happened, until my dad just asked, so what happened? Do you mind talking about it? You don't have to if you don't want to. And I started talking to him about it, and it was just emotional, man. Like I was kind of a mess. And it was the first time I'd ever seen my dad cry. And he just, man, his tears just, I'll never forget. Like I remember they were dripping on my chest, and I remember watching his tears fall. And, man, my dad was just such an amazing person, man. And he unfortunately died in 2015.
That's the same year I lost my dad.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, dude. Yeah, that's, man, I knew it would be bad when I lost my dad, but for one, I thought he'd be a lot older. He was 67 and died unexpectedly and everything. And yeah, man, I mean, he just loved me so much. And I saw it in that hospital, man. I mean, he told me afterwards, you know, that when he first saw me, that he just wished to God that he could trade places with me because I was his, you know, his baby boy. And yeah, man, I mean, you know, just in moments like that, when you see how much people really care, you know, you realize how how loved you really are by, you know, those that are closest to you. And, you know, that was, I guess, the cool thing about it was just, you know, I definitely felt a lot of love, you know, after I was wounded from friends and family members and everything. So, but yeah, I was all fucking out of it when I told that story the first time. But I just remember telling my dad, like, it was just fucking, or it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, Dad. You know, I thought it was going to be so much different. And it wasn't that. It was fucking horrible, Dad. Like, it was horrible. Like, that's what I remember telling my dad. You know, it wasn't any joking around like I do now. You know, when you're so long away from whatever, you know, that moment in time was, you know, you get a lot more desensitized to it and everything. And also just the older you get, the less stressed out you get over certain things too anyways. But yeah, man, I mean, it definitely wasn't any like, yeah, Dad, we fucked him up, you know, any of that shit like that. It was just, I remember telling him how horrible it was.
Well, it's crazy too to think like you'd had this dream since you were 14 years old.
Yeah.
And then the experience was vastly different than what you anticipated.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, the only thing I ever wanted to do in life, man, was be a United States Marine infantryman. And then my plan after that, if that did not work out, or if I didn't re-enlist or whatever, I was going to, you know, be a patrol cop. Those are the two things I wanted to do, man. I just wanted to help people out that, you know, couldn't help themselves, couldn't fight, you know, defend themselves. I wanted to help those the weaker people out because I wasn't, you know, I guess afraid of violence. I definitely didn't like violence at that time. That makes it sound like I love it now or something. That didn't sound right, but so I mean, I definitely, I don't know, but I definitely, I don't know, just looked at it differently than most, I guess. And I always kind of realized or just thought, like, assumed, you know, I think I can do that job. You know, I know others can't.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'll have a problem with it, with, you know, the killing aspect. And I didn't. I never have. I don't know. It's whatever. It's like squashing a fucking bug.
Yeah. That's what I tell people too.
It really isn't.
It was because people think you're going to have this like big emotional response. And I know we touched on it when we were eating lunch a little bit, but it's like once that moment comes, it's kind of like playing a video game. Like most of the guys that I served with, they didn't have any kind of emotional response to it. In fact, most guys enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you can't talk about that. It's kind of taboo, but it's like you send all these young men to the other side of the world to do this, and they've been training for it. And some of them, like yourself, have been thinking about it since they were 14.
Yep.
That moment is actually, for a lot of guys, enjoyable, you know, up until something fucked up happens.
Yep. It's just like, you know, the fucking Super Bowl, you know, like you want to fucking be in that game. You fantasize it. Now you actually make it to the NFL, and now you go to the Super Bowl. In other words, and now there's a war when you join the Marines. Like, fuck yeah, it's a dream.
Yeah.
You know, so what I wanted. And then you get there and it's going awesome, and you're having you're like, this is actually pretty fucking cool. And like you said, and then something bad happens, man. And it happens to, especially when it happens to you, especially you, but, or just someone that you care about, you know, one of your boys. All of a sudden you're like, man, like I'll tell people, I'm like, war's pretty fucking awesome when you're winning.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that goes
take that first casualty though.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. It sucks after that. You know, it just, people don't realize just how kind of nasty war is, man. Just the things you see, you know, just like, I mean, like just like gross stuff, you know, just like parts that should be on the inside of someone are now on the outside of someone. And thankfully I never, you know, the IED threat wasn't really there when I was during the invasion.
Yeah.
So I never had to deal with seeing, you know, all the body parts of my fucking friends that I love, you know, on the ground and have to police call that shit up. Like other guys have, but that's gonna make a fucking impact on you. You know what I mean?
For
like
sure.
it's just gross stuff. And when you attach that gross stuff to this is someone that I cared for, then like it just complicates it even more, makes it or compacts it. You know, it's worse.
Let me ask you this. Like for myself, my last deployment was 2009. So I'm pretty removed from that life now. And the older I get, the more I find myself asking, like, what were we really doing there in the first place?
Yeah.
You know, but the conclusion that I've come to is that if I try and think about the whys or the coulda, shoulda, wouldas and all that it doesn't benefit me at all. And even though I do look at some of the stuff our government was doing and thinking, now I look back on it and think that was fucking stupid or that wasn't necessary. The thing that I always tell myself is that I don't really care what the political reasons were or what our objective was or what we were hoping to have happen as a result. We were all there because we wanted to meet men on the field of battle and fucking fight it out.
Yep.
You know, and so take all the, I've talked about this with friends a lot, like take all of the reasonings that are given to us by politicians. If they had said to us, hey, we have no reason to go to war, but there's a bunch of dudes on the other side of the world that want to fight you. I know at least as a Ranger, and it's probably true in the Marine Corps, they'd be like, let's fucking go.
Oh yeah.
Let's fucking go. You know? And so I look back on my youth because I mean, my entire 20s, like I was, from the time, like I said, I was getting ready to fucking jump into Afghanistan on my 21st birthday. And my last deployment, I was 29. And I feel like half my youth was given to the war.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that was my choice. And I willingly went. And I can't look back on the whys or what we hope to gain. I just have to look at it as like, dude, that's a game you wanted to play and you went and fucking played it.
Yeah.
And I was wondering because I was one of the lucky ones that came out unscathed. And I'm wondering from someone from your perspective that you have a lifelong disability that is a result of the choice that you made to go to war. Is that something that you've come to peace with, or is it something that continues to haunt you, or how do you look at that?
Yeah, man, it's weird. Like I used to, because I handled things pretty damn well, honestly, surprisingly well when I was first injured. And I used to assume, well, it's because I'm a Marine and they train us so well in boot camp and blah, blah, blah. And then I started seeing Marines come through and they weren't handling it nearly as well as I was. And I'm like, okay, well, obviously it's not just the Marine Corps. I don't know. I don't know what the reasoning is and how my dad raised me or something. I don't know. Who knows? But, or a combination of reasons that I don't know. I think a lot of it was because I came so close to death and just expected to die that when I woke up a week and a half later in Maryland at that hospital, I was like, I'll take it. Because that feeling of dying, of feeling the life drain from you and you're getting weaker and it's coming to an end and you're 21 and there's so much more shit you wanted to do in life. You thought you were just getting started and you're already dying now. Like that's not how it's supposed to be. And you know, I don't know. It was a terrible feeling. It was the most lonely, god awful feeling ever, dying, you know? And Like I can only imagine, you know, what people that commit suicide, you know, by doing like, I don't know, by jumping off a bridge or something that, you know, it's going to take a few more seconds to die after you make the decision, and you have that amount of time to think whatever your last thoughts are going to be. Like, you know, I wonder, like I've heard that, you know, from pretty much everyone who survived the jump in San Francisco from the bridge, you'll regrets it. They say afterwards that they
the second they step off, huh?
Yeah, like right after they step off, they regretted it, and then they wind up living or whatever, and they usually make some pretty positive changes, you know. But most obviously don't survive that fall, and I can see that, man. Like it was just terrible that, you know, I was just so much more stuff I wanted to do in life, and just to have it all taken away, like it was just, my mortality was just thrown in my face like never before. And being able to come out on the other side of that alive still, even though that half my body is essentially dead, I was like, I'll take it, man. You know, like this, I can work with that,
man.
You know, like I was like, I can work with that. I was like, and my first victory, I knew I needed to get some points on the board because I was in the fucking negatives. And my first victory that I had after I was wounded in general, other than, you know, like living, my first victory was a physical therapist coming in. She was cute too, so it was kind of cool. A little eye candy, you know, for a Marine who'd been deployed for several months. And I asked her, you know, so like, can I drive, or do I have to be like shuttled around like in a minivan or bus or something for the rest of my life? And she was like, oh no, you can drive. Yeah, you can drive whatever you want. You can drive Ferrari if you want. It just has to, you know, be an automatic for legal reasons and safety reasons. And she's like, you should put hand controls in anything though. And I was just like, fuck yeah, that's awesome. Like and that's when I was like, okay, I can do that. I can work with that. Like that means I can be independent. I can do this. You know what I mean? Like I needed something. I needed a win, and that was my first win. I was like, boom, and I fucking savored that, man. I just tried to kind of focus on that, and maybe, you know, like start looking at different vehicles and shit online, rather than, I don't know, man, because it's like I had this massive mountain of fucking negativity right here that, you know, and we all to an extent have it. Every day in our lives. I don't care how old or young you are. Everyone has it where there's going to be some negative shit going on in your life right now. And that negative shit is always more easier to focus on than the positive stuff, you know, that you have in your life or your victories or whatever. And so it was, you know, easy to see that mountain, and definitely easy to fall into that trap of just only focusing on negative shit and then being like, fuck, my life's over. I'm fucked. You know, can't do this, can't do that, can't do this. And
bro, I think that's a trap that most people would fall into.
Yeah.
Including me. And that's why, like, hearing your story, that's why I was excited to have you on, because it's like, I don't care how tough you are. When you're confronted with something like that, I feel like the majority of people would fail.
Yeah.
And allow depression and fucking like the woe's me attitude. And like, I'm a perfect example of that, man. I'm 40 and the orthopedic surgeon says I'm going to need a knee replacement pretty soon. And I'm fucking, bro, like it bums me out. And
that's a long time afterwards, man.
And I think about like what I won't be able to do and what's it going to do for my jiu-jitsu. And I've always wanted to run an ultra marathon, all these fucking things, right? Meanwhile, you had all that stuff taken from you at 21. So my run's been twice as long as yours already. And I'm only getting a new knee. And I'm going to be fucking sad about that. Like, it's perspective, man. And it's like, I think we need to hear stories like this, because there's men like you out there that went through something horrific. The experience in itself, the acute experience that you went through at that moment. I mean, how terrifying and terrible was that to go through? But then when you made it out on the back end, now the rest of your life is different. And you're still like, hey, I fucking lived. That's what's important, man. And it's like, that's such a powerful perspective.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've lost 3 of my teammates that I was deployed with to suicide in the last 24 months. It's like the 10-year mark. I feel like the depression gets in and it fucking gets them. And none of them were seriously injured. None of them had lifelong disabilities.
Yeah.
And we're allowing our experiences to tear us down. Meanwhile, you've had one of the worst experiences and you're figuring out how to use that to build you up. This story needs to be heard by veterans, man, because I think it's unique. And when you hear, and there are men out there like you who've lost limbs, who, what's the guy that did Jocko's podcast that lost all 4 of his limbs?
Oh yeah. I forgot the guy's name.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he's just positive and he's saying the same thing you're saying. Hey, I fucking made it. I'm here. And that kind of resolve and that kind of positivity, dude, it changes people's perspective, man.
Yeah. And
just talking to you now, it's like, I don't have one fucking thing to be fucking upset about or to worry about.
Yeah.
It's like, if you can fucking do it with the circumstances and the experiences you went through, then everybody needs to shut the fuck up and just get after it. You know?
Yeah. I mean,
did you go through like real dark periods or the fact that you lived, were you ready to get back on the horse and start getting after it?
I would go through dark moments in time. I wouldn't have dark days or weeks or months. I would have dark moments. Maybe it's ADD. I don't know. I get over stuff really fast, like really freaking fast. And I remember one night, the most angry I had ever gotten was when I called God a cunt and spit in the fucking air because I just like gotten ready to go, spent 3 hours showering and doing this stuff, slowly getting dressed and everything. And then I bent over to fucking tie my shoe and I fucking shat myself. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I already went to the bathroom. I did everything I was supposed to fucking do. And it still happened. Are you kidding me? I did what I was supposed to do. I tried, I checked, whatever. I sit there for an hour on the toilet and I still fucking go. Are you fucking, I was just so irate, dude, after all that time and effort spent getting ready and getting clean and everything. Yeah. Now, not only am I dirty, my clothes are dirty and my fucking chair is dirty. Like, that's a multi-hour, suck fest right there. And it's not a quick cleanup. So I was like, you fucking cunt. And I literally spit. I called God a cunt and I spit up in the air. And the fucking spit comes right back down.
Dude,
it came right
think
back
about
down.
that though.
That was God being like, oh yeah, I'm like, going, huh? Fuck you, Like, yeah, I don't know why I did that, but I was just so pissed off and I was just like, motherfucker, I did fucking spit. And it just came right back down on me. Fucking gravity, man. But yeah, so like I'd have like these dark moments like that for sure. And they were usually, it was when my disability was thrown in my face, not just like kind of shoved over there, but just bam, you can't fucking miss it. You're, different and crippled, and it's always going to be like that. And oh yeah, here's a friggin' reminder, and like the bowel and bladder stuff, man, are the stuff that, that no one talks about that has a spinal cord injury. Just because it's embarrassing, man. It's like I'm a grown man, but I'm fucking wetting myself or shitting like a baby. That's essentially what you're thinking in your head or saying. And obviously, everyone knows it's not that. It's your body is not functioning like it used to. Mm-hmm. You don't have any sensation or control over your bowel or bladder anymore. So now you just have to try and empty it, empty your bladder, multiple times a day. And get used to the sensations, but you got to learn those sensations all over again because they're new and because you're technically in a new body. So it's like you're born again and you have to figure out how to be almost essentially potty trained or whatever in a way, but figure out your bowels and bladder and when you eat something specific, how that will completely wreck your stomach, which is a big deal if you're on the road. You know, I mean, 2 years ago, you know, my wife and I were at the Grand Canyon, and it's in the middle of nowhere. And I freaking literally went to the bathroom that morning and everything. And on the way back, we got like 45 minutes to go before we're even at the nearest gas station, and like an hour and a half from the hotel. And my stomach, I was like, oh, fuck. And sure enough, dude, I mean, it was straight up diarrhea. And, you know, my process for whenever, I was about to say whenever shit happens.
Yeah.
My process for that is, you know, okay, like what's step number one? You know, like, yes, this sucks. It's a shit situation. Okay, well, what's the first thing I need to do here to figure this out, to get past it, to get cleaned up, you know, to figure everything out, to do some damage control, and then eventually get cleaned up, clean a chair and all that stuff, you know, just like regardless of what it is. And I'll try and think of, you know, just like that's my process is, okay, what do I do first? And I just got to stop thinking, stop getting all pissed or whatever, you know, get over that. Like, stop. That doesn't fucking help anything. What do I do? Okay. I need to go in here and do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of how I handle those things now. Although thankfully now they're few and far between. Like, that hasn't happened in years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking even years before that, 2 years ago. So those things mainly happen when you're newly injured. After you've been in a chair for a few years, they happen much, 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 much less frequently. And it'll just be like kind of just a really bad situation, bad luck thing that happens occasionally. But I never really had these just long durations of time of depression or alcoholism or anything. I actually started drinking less when I got injured, although I kind of was an alcoholic before I got injured. Like,
well, you were young. You were a young
we all were.
guy.
Exactly.
That was what we all did, right?
Yeah. So but it was a pain in the ass to drink now, because now every time I had to drink, I had to like use a catheter, freaking go and cath, and I had to be sterile about it and everything, in a bathroom, in a shitty, nasty public bathroom. So it just became too much of a pain in the ass, honestly, to drink most of the time. So now it's really only on certain occasions where I'll actually drink enough to get drunk. I will also try and maintain those, you know, that incremental improvement on a daily basis. For me, first time I heard that was my friend Pat McNamara, former unit guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I follow the basic dude stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a good dude. Yeah. He was the one that first told me about that, you know, like 2011 or something, when I first met him in a training class. And I started kind of applying that to my own life, where even if, you know, I don't know, as long as I get something, you know, I learn something new, or I make some kind of improvement throughout the day, whether it's just going to the gym and working out, or I don't give a shit if I just learn the definition of a new word, you know, whatever, or do a kind gesture for someone, whatever.
You're being
as long
as
I can get that one thing.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm a better human being, and like that's success for the day. You know what I mean? Like, I achieved something. I can say that I achieved something positive today.
That's fucking rad, dude.
So,
but man, I'm gonna adopt that mindset today.
Sweet.
And I mean, I've tried to live like that to a certain extent for most of my life as well, because I think a lot of guys like us are cut from the same cloth.
Mm-hmm.
But for someone to be facing the amount of adversity that you face on a daily basis and still live by that motto, it's fucking inspiring, man.
I appreciate it.
So we're at 3 hours.
Damn, dude, that went by quick.
I see my kids peeking in the window behind you, and I got to open my gym soon. But I just wanted to say, man, like, listening to your story, watching your documentary, and then meeting you today and seeing like you're still attacking life. How long have you been married now?
Just over a year. We've been together for 7.
And you're talking about starting a family.
Yep.
And it's like, you're a tactical firearms instructor. You're on the range all the time. Like you're living life. You're getting after it. And that's something that I think everyone that listens to this podcast is going to reflect and be like, okay, this guy went through this and is still fucking moving forward every day. What do I got to do to be better?
Yeah. I do the same thing when I hear podcasts, dude.
Yeah.
You know, we all, whatever it is that motivates you, man, you just find that. And if it's not motivating you anymore, switch to the next thing or the next person or whatever, whoever or whatever it is that motivates you. That's what I do, man. Because something will lose. Eventually it'll lose its effectiveness.
Of course, man.
It always does. How we are.
That's life,
it
dude.
It sucks. I hate that. It disgusts me that happens. It's like, how is this freaking
the coolest thing
quadruple
ever
amputee that I think is amazing? All of a sudden, it's not as inspirational as it once was. Like, seriously,
Yeah, bro.
But whatever. Who cares? It's whatever. That's what I've always done. Is just I'll find whoever or whatever it is that motivates me, and then I'll change it when I need to, man.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for doing this.
Yeah.
And
thanks for having me on,
I
brother.
think we should do it again at some time. We'll do a follow-up episode because we're 3 hours in and
Cool.
I think we got more to talk about.
Definitely. Likewise, man.
All
Appreciate
right.
it.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks.